got the air, storming fields.
Well, Dolphin fans. Whoa, that was rough. Guys, welcome to the FTSN post-game show. Hold on one sec while I try to figure out why I can't get my overlays, my backgrounds to work. Give me a sec. This is really giving me a headache. But anyways, before we start anything like this, let me just see if I can. That's not going to work. Where did he do? What did he do, Bobby? Anyways, I'll figure that out. Guys, I'm going to figure it out in a minute. Guys, welcome to the FTSN pregame show. The Miami Dolphins got their butts whipped 38-10 on the final game of the season. With me tonight now is Steve Malloy. Steve, what a disaster that was. What a mess that was. That was absolutely awful what that was. I honestly thought, you want to know what? They're going to give it a bit of a fight. I don't know what your prediction was. You two tell me on the pregame show. You'll announce what it was. But Sammy had it like a drubbing. Bobby had it as a drubbing. I actually thought it would be a close game, maybe for Bradley Chubb. Had a little bit of hopium. Man, even when I try to do the reverse psychology, it doesn't work. Steve, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Look, I kind of expected this. I didn't say it out loud, but in my head, I had the Miami Dolphins losing this game 38-13. 38-10, but hey, I was close. But I expected this. I didn't expect anything more. I mean, look, Evan, you've been talking about this, all year about the Dolphins third and fourth, second half, third, fourth quarters. They can't do anything. They can't. Mike McDaniel cannot adjust. He just cannot do it. And it's awful. But hey, I'm happy in this respect. I'm happy because the season's over. We're 7-10, and we got something to look forward to. There has been some changes made in the organization. We let go the two directors of personnel. We let go Chris Greer, which was the biggest one, and we hired Troy Aikman. So I'm happy about that as a consultant. So
I want to get your opinion on that. So let me just get your opinion on that, because
sure,
I'm going to get everyone's opinion. We talked about in the pregame show, because we're going to have a lot to talk about. We're going to take a lot of time tonight, guys. We have an all-star panel. Bobby's going to be joining us soon. Greg Maney is going to be joining us. Brett Lagasse is going to be joining us. Sammy's going to, Vince from Vince TV is going to be joining us. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. But we asked on the pregame show, what were your initial thoughts on Troy Aikman being hired as a consultant for the team?
Look, I don't know. I don't know how he's going to do. I really don't. He doesn't have much experience in this arena. He hasn't been a GM, hasn't been a coach or anything like that. But he's knowledgeable quarterback. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Super Bowl winner. He's been on the field with these coaches and players. He has connections, in the media and things of that nature. He's talked to GMs, owners and stuff. So I think it's a good thing for this organization. I think there's going to be I think it's going to make a big difference. The question is Ross, is Shore, is Garfinkel, is Stillman, are they going to take his evaluations and his opinions on a new GM? That's the question. To me, it's too many hands in the pot. So, but we'll see. We'll see how they take his word at face value on what he says about GMs. I know he's gotten started on making some calls from what I've heard. Anyway,
since Halloween,
I don't know.
Since Halloween, we've been talking.
Yeah. So he's been working. He's been working. So we'll see how it turns out. Like I said, I'm excited about the offseason. We've never made any big changes like this in as long as that I know of, in 10, 15 years, where we've changed, folks in the front office too, and plus a general manager. Now, the only thing I'm concerned with is Coach McDaniel. What are they going to do with him? And I heard the announcer on the game today saying, are they going to bring back Tua? Maybe Tua is going to be in the mix again next year. No, I don't think so. They've already put their foot in the mouth on that. They've already, he's down to the fourth string quarterback. They just brought in another quarterback this past week.
Yeah. By the way, Darren, I will be special surprise. It was not confirmed, but I can't wait for her to have her first curse word of the evening. I'm sure her fans will. I'm sure her family right now will not be paying attention to our game because they have a game where their team is about to lose this evening. I miss her. I love her. Happy New Year, Courtney. Doll, how are you, sweetheart?
Courtney, how are you?
Hi guys. I can
How
only
are you?
stop on because I do have the family coming over for the next game. What dog shit, huh?
Yeah. So, guys, let's go over the game. Let's just have some fun, and then we're gonna get back to Aikman and all that. So, guys, I was the only one who had a little bit of hopium going into this game, saying, you wonder what? They're going to give it. Everyone all week, guys, told me they haven't quit on their coach. What happened with the Bucks game? They didn't quit on their coach. It started off well. Then on the first series, they can't convert on fourth and whatever. Guys, is that a surprise? When's the last time they actually converted on 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1? Who would have thought that maybe they go draft or get a quarterback who is about 6'7" who could just jump and get you the first down? Not going to happen. Then we slowly let them score. The defense looked like they did not show up. They said, Bradley Chubb, we don't want you to get your $5 million. We're going to lose this for you in the first quarter, guys. The moment they gave up 14 points, they just lost Bradley Chubb $5.15 million in bonuses. Yeah. Like, the defense didn't show up. Then the offense shows up a little bit. Then the defense sort of stops, and things sort of look okay. And then the second half, great. They get 7 points. It's 14-10. Lo and behold, what do the Dolphins do, Steve and Courtney? We allow them to score in 28 seconds. Let's get a field goal. Then, lo and behold, the Dolphins of yore. They didn't have this problem the last 3 seasons, but what did they do? No points in the first half. They gave up another 14. They are finishing with a minus 104 differential. And Doll, when you were still figuring out what you were going to wear for Halloween is the last time the Dolphins scored in the third quarter. That's how insane that is. They have not scored in the third quarter since before Halloween.
Yeah.
So you said this was dog shit. So before we even continue the game, what was your expectation coming into the game? And what was your expectation as you were watching the game? As I bring in Mr. Analytical, my other wife by text, Brett Lagasse, I'm joining you in right now while Courtney gives her little spiel.
What's up, guys?
Welcome.
Hey, what's up, Brett?
Ohio State.
Sorry. I'm wearing a team that actually goes to playoffs and wins in playoffs
and loses in playoffs.
Hey, that's all right. I don't care. I'm still baffled by that. The having the entire month off and the teams are 1-5.
That is ridiculous.
And the playoff or 1-7. The playoff committee's like, I don't see the problem here. Like, can we fire everybody in that playoff committee and get people that actually know what they're doing? Anyway, good.
Pretty bad. Yeah,
well, congrats to the Hurricanes on their win, though.
Yeah, Courtney, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a domination. So thanks for letting us ragdoll you while we let the Patriots ragdoll us today.
Listen. If Ryan Day finally gets shit canned, I'll be happy.
He thinks of Ryan Day like I think of Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Except Mike McDaniel's actually smart. Go ahead.
No, he's
not. Going into this game, I had no expectations because I haven't had expectations over the Dolphins since October. I was not on the, oh my God, we're going to make a run for it. I've been, and I got shit for it. I've been on the, let's think about the draft. Let's think about what happens after we fire everybody. Watching the game, I mean, it started off, I was like, oh, okay, like, maybe this won't be too bad. Like, we're not going to win, but, like, maybe it won't be too bad. And then the third quarter happens. And this is why I get mad when Mike McDaniel doesn't defer. Because we're bad in the second half of games. So for you not to want to come out with the ball has blown my mind all season. But yeah, it's like we're not the same team in the second half. And it carries over. Like the Heat do the same thing. The Heat have the third quarter where, that's like a no. Like, what is it with Miami teams? And just they come out of halftime and it's just like, who the fuck are you? So now I'm waiting. I guess we're all waiting to see, is McDaniel fired? Is he not? But his play calling is horrendous. His third downs need to be studied. I think I saw we were like 2nd and 22, and he was like, "Yeah, let me throw a screen."
Well, that play in the third quarter,
with my rookie, offensive line, let me throw a screen back here on 3rd and 22, and let me see if they can get. Oh, they didn't get to the line of scrimmage. I mean, it's just but he does it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't hate Quinn. I mean, I would be fine if we start him next year to continue the tank for another season to try to, get somebody next year. I don't like Jalen Wright.
Oh, he was awful tonight.
It's he has flashes, but it's the ball security. I cannot trust that man when the ball is in his hands.
What, J.J. 2.0?
Yeah.
Everybody telling me that he should be the backup to Achane. No. He should not. I don't know.
Yeah,
the problem isn't who should back up Achane. The problem is who should Achane be backing up. That's the question.
No, because we're going to get into that throughout the show.
We need to have an elite back.
We do have an elite back.
No, because the thing about
not
Achane,
Miami Dolphin fan elite. I mean, like actual elite. Like Saquon
Barkley elite. That's what I mean.
No. So Brett, obviously, you and I have been fighting for many a days. We'll talk about Aikman later. We'll give you guys a chance to talk. But let's talk about this football game a little bit, Brett. You and I were going crazy back and forth, agreeing, disagreeing. Mike McDaniel, this and that. I think what got people going, and I want you to explain it, and then you can go through a lot of the progressions and analyze this game a little bit. What happened in the end of that third quarter, where there was like second and then he declined the 2 penalties, the screens, the 2 illegal shifts. What happened there was basically, I believe, and you agreed with me, and I want you to go through the progressions of the game. They quit on Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel quit mid-game. Like when his play calling in the second half, at one point he just gave up. He goes, I don't care. Let this game be over. He did not show pride for any point. And I'm sorry, Brett. You may say this is talent. They have not scored a third quarter point, not a field goal, a point, since you were looking for Halloween costumes for your daughter for Halloween. Okay? It's October. We're now in January. He has not scored 1 point in the third quarter. That is totally unacceptable in any way, shape, or form, Brett. So go through what you thought of the game, what you saw. I know you probably expected a big loss, but like today was just, once again, talent is not there, but at least put your players in a position not to get embarrassed on the field.
I don't know if I just honestly, something's weird because they just Waddle and Achane are already sitting from the beginning of it, which I understand. They just didn't want to hurt him, but they kind of already packed it in. But does that mean he's back next year? Does that mean like he feels safe, or I don't know? But the blowout loss should not make anybody safe. But it's just nobody wanted to play. The defense, I don't think, wants to play for Weaver at this point. There's players that said that his defense was complex and nobody understood it. And I've always tried to figure out why Dodson gets the most looks on the field. He's our worst linebacker by far. Willie Gay is our best linebacker, and him and Brooks and Brooks is our best, but Willie Gay is better than Dodson, and he never gets to play, never saw the field. He rarely sees the field, I should say. But like, it's just the team, just Bradley Chubb and them. Like Bradley Chubb had a what was it?
His bonus?
Escalated his contract.
Yeah, $5.15 million, and they killed it on the first 2 drives. The moment they scored 14 points, it was over. It was over the moment they gave up 14 points.
They had to be the 20. To me, this is more conspiracy, but it wouldn't surprise me if NFL teams kind of like pack it in and do that kind of shit on purpose so they don't have to pay guys. But I don't know. Chubb didn't really have a great game. It looked like he was trying. They played a lot of youth all game.
Yeah, they did.
A lot of young guys. Yeah. A lot of guys that like didn't get a lot of playing time all year, especially at wide receiver. It was just, and the false starts, the penalties that you were seeing with like movements and shifts and stuff. Cedric Wilson just came back mid-season, right, for us.
Right.
Weiss is an undrafted rookie. Your quarterback's a 7th-round pick, and his 3rd start and his 3rd week of first-team reps. That stuff's going to happen. It's like it's rookie stuff. This is rookie mistakes he's making. It's going to happen. And then you have like the offensive line fall. The offensive line false start was not on them. Those guys, Ewers trying to kill the motion. But there were some things I saw, though, that some people are not going to pay attention to. They're going to talk about Ewers this, Ewers that.
Well,
Ewers was not afraid to put the ball downfield. Now, he didn't play anywhere near good enough to win today. But he made some things happen, and he knew like – the one big play on the pass interference, he knew he was going to get a free rush in the corner. He knew that corner was coming and coming hot because he knows they're sending one more than I have blocking. He's coming hot. but he threw the ball deep, and he saw them getting interfered with, and he threw it, and it caused the officials to throw a pass or call it a pass interference instead of holding. So that was actually like really heads up play. And then he underestimated Barmore's athletic ability. He's going to have to learn that. A lot of rookies underestimate the athleticism of defensive linemen in the NFL, and I could outrun and just throw this away. You need to haul ass because those guys are not as slow as you think. So,
right,
the stuff like that where he got himself in trouble. But overall, the team looked like a mess. It looked like a team that packed it in, that sat Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane and was just trying a bunch of rookies and guys who are backups for a reason. I will say Theo Weiss and Malik Washington are two guys that I think are good enough to be like definitely make the roster next year or to look into like having as like depth guys. Washington I like as a return guy in special teams, but I'm not saying anything special, but I think they got a good look at guys to say, okay, this is what we have and going into the next year for the younger guys because we're in cap hell for the next 2 years.
Yeah,
we are.
exactly.
We're in cap hell.
But don't
so
worry,
is
Brandon
Denver.
Short's coming back, and he's leading the charge.
Yeah,
for the
but
next
Brett, so was Denver. Denver was in cap hell for 2 years, and look what they did.
Yeah, but did they keep the guy that was in charge of putting him in cap hell? I don't know. I'm hoping that
Brandon Shore. Yeah, but even if they did, Sean Payton will overrule them, right? Sean Payton will get the right players in place to play well, right?
But we don't have that.
We will.
So that's where I'm worried. But
we will.
I kind of hope, because I want a fresh start and a clean slate. I kind of hope that this was the team quitting and McDaniel getting the axe, but I don't think it's going to be. I just hope it is.
Yeah.
So let's invite in the guy I actually been fighting with more than Brett. Going at it this week. We need to hug it out probably on Thursday. Steve will bring us back together on one of our panel shows that we'll do together. By the way, I hate to break it to you, Brett. You're going to have to make some time because Bobby and I have already been saying we need to do a lot of sister shows for draft coverage. We have to out-duel Ingate. So you, me, and Greg, and whoever else wants to join, you're welcome to join, but we have to get our show going. So, Greg, welcome. What were your thoughts on this game that started off okay? And I understand, Greg, you and I have been fighting, but just want to let you know, we have not scored a point in the third quarter since before Halloween. Okay, you could say this is something that is unbelievable. We had negative yards for pretty much all of the third into the fourth. So what did you see in today's game? It started off okay, then it fell off the rails, gave up points at the end of the half in 28 seconds, then couldn't score anything into the third quarter, then gave up 14 points, and the game was over. The defense quit the moment you threw that interception. And if you don't mind answering, because I think I wanted Brett to answer it also, but you can answer it. Whose fault was the INT? So that really turned that game around, like really flipped it. So overall, what were your thoughts on the game?
Well, first the INT. The INT is on the quarterback. The quarterback, he's a rookie. He's a rookie in his third game playing a very good defense on the road. All right. So he made a bad choice and he misread the coverage, in my opinion. All right. So that it was on the quarterback. It was actually a good play call. They had layered options out there for him to hit, and he just hit the wrong people.
He had two people right in front, but he wanted the touchdown there.
Well, like I said, I think Theo Weiss ran that too shallow, and he was expecting him to be deeper, but you can't throw it. Like, he's not deeper. You can't throw that. Like, it's period. And he's coming across your face, so you can see he's not gaining depth like he's supposed to. He's shallow, so you still can't throw it. It's a bad decision.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I'm going to steal some of Steve's thunder here, but let's talk some reality here. All right. Miami played a bunch of players today that might not even be in the league next year, let alone on this team next year. Okay. They're playing a bunch of 4th, 5th, 6th wide receivers, okay, who are basically journeymen that no team wants. All right. They had a tight end Dolchich, who was basically cut by a good team earlier in the year so Miami could pick him up.
Everyone wants him back. He's wonderful.
And everybody wants him back as a starter next year. Right.
He's a number 2. He's a quality number 2. That's it.
Julian Hill was number 1 today. Julian Hill was number 1. Dolph's favorite player, Julian Hill, number 1.
I mean,
He's actually been better without Tua. That's weird.
I know, but he's still awful. He cannot pass block. He was pass blocking like garbage today.
So was the entire team, but that's not saying much.
Yeah.
well, Jalen Wright doesn't know how to run the football yet. He still has to learn that he can't try to bounce everything outside and protect the football.
Oh, but come on, we traded up for him. He was ready to go.
Okay.
McDaniel traded up for him. Hey, McDaniel traded up for him.
Yeah, he wanted him. He
He wanted him.
You know,
He needs to worry about holding onto a ball, not how to run it.
No,
Like,
because maybe you can explain it, Greg and Brett. But Greg explain it.
Out here.
They were talking on the show today, Greg, about being a physical. Greg Olson was talking to be a physical runner. The problem is he's trying to bounce off every defender that he's forgetting to hold on to the ball. So like he's trying to hit the defender, but while trying to hit him, he doesn't secure the ball. He fumbled it twice.
Jay Ajayi used to do that. Watch
Yeah,
Marion
he did.
Barber back in the day. Go back, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Go watch Marion Barber back in the day. Watch
Yeah.
where that ball is. That ball is tucked tight, and when he runs into you, he's running with everything. That ball is tucked against his body.
well, and I don't want to kind of derail the talk about the Dolphins here, but watch if you're watching the college playoffs, okay, watch Indiana, the U as well. Yeah, Courtney, we can talk about the U later because they got a monumental task because I still think they're going to do everything they can to put an SEC team in the final game.
I don't trust a ref to save my life.
I don't trust the NCAA at all. But anyway, I digress.
Oh, Greg, but Brett totally believes in the 1 month buy. He totally believes in the 1 month buy. Take a vacation, guys. Forget the
Indiana's the only team that looked good. And if they had to play like any of the better teams, I don't know if they would have won either.
There's a resemblance between Greg when he's very serious and has that snarl in his face, and Kirk Dendetti. There's that look. Like he looks
about the same age.
He looks like he's about to put you in detention. They're paying this guy $10.8 million a year. I'd be terrified of this coach. He looks mean.
But the thing I was going to say about this is the running backs for Indiana. All right, they play 3 of them basically, but they never bounce. They never look to bounce. Yeah. They're always running inside. They see the hole, they plant the outside foot, and they go inside. That's the way Jalen Wright has to run. That's the way Ollie Gordon has to run. And they're not Achane. Okay,
no, Achane's an elite.
Achane has the feet to be able to bounce outside and then get around the corner. All right. Gordon and Wright just don't have that ability, so they got to stay inside. They got to see the hole, plant the outside foot, and explode through.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
When Gordon's more consistent doing that, getting upfield, north and south, a lot better than Wright has been, though. Although he's not been as consistent breaking tackles, I think he's thinking too much.
He's not as consistent breaking tackles and things like that. And Wright is more physical. He just doesn't do it enough. All right, but I get back to
you could see today the game would have. The game would not have gotten out of hand the way that it did if Achane played. If Achane played, this is not a blowout the way it was in the first. He changes they don't make that mistake. That 4th and 1 play, they do not make that mistake. The 3rd and 1, the short yardage situation, they would have checked it down to Achane. I'm sorry. They relied on players who are not capable. Achane would have converted on some of the plays they needed in the short yardage. They would 100% gave the ball to Achane way more than they did today.
And
you're going to Taj Washington like 4 or 6 or 7 times today.
Yes, I agree. But Todd, what people aren't going to understand here is the Deebo Samuel in San Fran moving the running back was Mike McDaniel's call. Mike McDaniel's a wide receiver guy. He was a run game coordinator. He's been a wide receiver coach for the entire time, his entire career. And then with run game coordinator, he moved Deebo to running back because it needed some physicality. It needed somebody to run. Achane is that style player that he has, like he had in Deebo, but so is Malik Washington. I'm not saying the same level, but they're the same style player.
Not even close.
Right? But they have a similar role. And that's where like it becomes helpful having them both. But that's pretty much why you saw Washington get those touches, because that's where he's going to use Washington.
Not the same player.
But again, no, it doesn't. But see, this game is more about evaluation than it was anything. However, you would expect them to play with a little bit better. I don't know, a little bit better effort and a little bit better fundamentals than they did. That's my whole thing.
Because I want to let's just say this, and I'll go to Dalton, and I'll go to Steve. If you look back now, the game against the Bucks, the wins that they've had this season, I'm telling you this right now, and you may disagree, Greg. They're a bad football team to begin with. They're a bad football team. They're a poor, and people who were saying, and maybe Courtney, you can go first, and Steve. Everyone was praising how good Kenneth Grant was, how great Jordan Phillips looked, how great these picks were. Ollie Gordon, no H-Chan this season. You'll be lucky if you have 1 or 2 wins. This is not even close.
Hey, Greg, our problem last year was we weren't physical.
Problems for this team this year, and I was one of the hardest H-Chan trollers.
But here's the thing. Last year, Greg and I kept talking about this. They kept saying we need to get more physical, And yeah, we need to get physicality, but we didn't need to go draft the defensive tackle in the first round. Now, Mason Graham, I would have taken in the first round because he collapses offensive lines and takes up 2 or 3. And yeah, that creates easy one-on-one pass rush, right? And stuff like that. But I'm not again, we got physical for what? Savani is physical, but he's horrible footwork.
And I was so happy when they're going to pick up a lineman. He's god awful.
But that's why
he's bad.
Again,
he's coming back next year. Or he signed a
backup. I hope.
No, he signed a guaranteed 4-year salary.
But he could be a backup.
Contract.
He doesn't have to start.
Oh yeah, But so again,
the same thing with Eichenberg. It's fine.
This team is the problem is this. If you look at this roster. The issue with it is, even when they addressed the right positions, it was the wrong players. The first pick of 2023, we got Sam Smith or Cam Smith.
Chop Robinson.
No, whatever pick we got Cam Smith in.
Oh yeah, the second round of 2023. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, we love Cam Smith.
First pick, right?
It was
to me. You go cornerback early, that's fine. So you get a corner in the second round, okay, but you got the wrong guy. You trade up for Eichenberg over Creed Humphrey. You got the wrong guy. So, even when we draft the correct position, like Chop Robinson, Jalen Phillips, right position, wrong guys. Even when you Minka Fitzpatrick, Derwin James, I would have went Derwin James all day or Vita Vea. But we go Minka Fitzpatrick. Good player, not elite player. So, even when they draft the right position, they draft the wrong player because their philosophy is broken. And now it's a matter of and that's what you're seeing all over this roster. This roster is full of just hodgepodge. And when I was down at the Senior Bowl, there's people saying they just don't understand how Greer has a job for as long as he's had it, and how he wasn't fired with Flores. I was down there that year when they were looking for a head coach, and you didn't see a whole lot of representatives from Miami. And they're like, "Here's Greer down there," and they're like, they don't even have a head coach. What the hell is he looking for? How does he even know what he's looking for? And I said it then. He's just going to draft whatever he wants to draft because he doesn't listen to the head coach. And so with Miami, there's just a broken philosophy. And what I'm worried about is you see what we have. And this is how many times have we ended on a bad note like this in the season after a few years with the coach, right? Especially after 3 or 4 years of that coach. Then it's are we going to repeat this? Because the team is just hodgepodge together. And are we going to just keep McDaniel, bring in a GM, and then fire McDaniel after a couple of years, bring another head coach, then fire? Are we going to keep doing this? And then we're just going to keep being every 3 years, we're going to be right back here talking about what do we do next? Who's going to be the new GM? Who's going to be the new coach? You know what I mean? So, but it's right now, there was no vision of building this team. We're no better off now than we were when Philbin took over, when Gase took over. It's just, we're still in a mess.
Courtney, what are your thoughts on what we've been talking about?
I'm going to go back to the only team that hasn't hurt me lately, and that's the U. And if you look what Cristobal did down there, and he built the trenches. Carson Beck can lead that team by doing the bare minimum and just managing the game.
He's not a very good quarterback.
I say he can barely do the bare minimum.
He can't do he's not a very good quarterback.
You did a lot to your Buckeyes, if I recall correctly.
No, he was awful too then. But Fletcher
wasn't very good that game.
Fletcher, I want to see Fletcher in a Dolphins uniform. That dude.
I'll take Fletcher, Ruben Bain. I want that man in a Dolphins uniform.
I'll take Maui Nawa. I'll take Mesador.
Well, but what I'm saying is
Huh?
they had a vision, and the U believes in the physicality. They believe that if you can just bully people up front, you win the game. And they're showing it right now. I mean, I don't want to jinx anything for Thursday. I'm already have
The refs will.
about that. But I'm saying, like, if you look at the game, they come out and they just smack you in the face, and they just keep trying to smack you in the face, and that's what the Dolphins lack. Even now, you can say, "Oh, we are not even a fraction of the physicality that." And I know that everyone says college and NFL is different, but I think the philosophy through all of NFL, any level, is that if you win in the trenches and if you have that physicality up front, it's going to be very hard to lose a game, especially when you throw off the timing of the other person's offense. And we just don't have that. Our guys up front, like, barely know what they're doing. They barely hold a block. They barely make a lane. They're not disrupting anything. And don't get me started on our secondary. That's just like a hodgepodge of they didn't know what to do back there. I've said it for 4 years since Xavier Howard that we had nobody to replace him. We had nobody back there. He never had help. It was kind of like the forgotten piece. And unfortunately, in the NFL, it's a very big pass league, and you're going to get carved up doing this. And week in and week out, that's what happens. Bobby was hyped about Ollie. I've been nothing but disappointed with him. He hesitates when he gets the ball. He doesn't hit a hole hard. He tries to do the stupid bounce. Like, he doesn't just like put his head down and bulldoze like we were supposed to have drafted him for. I've seen him too many times in the backfield get stuffed because there's a hesitation. He doesn't hit. Like, I don't like him. I don't like it at all. I do like Theo Wees. I would allow him on as, a third back. I like him. I don't think he's obviously Waddle, and Waddle isn't Tyreek. I mean, we've had 3 levels of players, but Tyreek's gone. I'd like Theo, but McDaniel has to go. You can't look at this team and say that it's run well, that the players respect the coaching staff, that the right plays are being called. Like, it's just, it needs an overhaul. It needs a complete.
We need a cleanse.
Yeah,
you need it, and then you need a GM and a head coach, both new,
right,
that come in and are unified and agree this is the plan. This is what the Dolphins will be, and they collectively go out and find the guys and start to build based on what this philosophy is. No more of like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Oh, he's fast. He runs a 4.2. Let's get him, even though he's tiny and has an injury. Like, no. You need, and I really hope it's a guy that comes in and says, no, I want a nasty, I want all the Richie Incognitos on my line. And I will die by this hill. But you need unity, and you need a GM and a head coach that are on the same page and that are both like that will go and do this. And you need to get better talent evaluators out there. You need people that are like, listen, like, I don't want somebody that's going to. I'm rocking Carson back. I would never draft him in the NFL. I'm going to rock with him for the next 2 games. I would not draft him to the Dolphins. But I need somebody that understands the distinction, because there is a clear distinction.
Yeah. So this was actually asked by Barry Jackson, and then Steve, I want you to answer this, and then you can cover a lot of the points. Mike McDaniel on the Dolphins being outscored 130-27 in the third quarter. I have a strong, this is such bull crap the way he talks. I have a strong motivation to take the off season to figure out what we could do from a controllable standpoint, from a schematic standpoint, from how we operate. We have to figure that out. That will be led by me for sure. What does he know? Number one, why does he say he's going to be back? What has he been told? But what kind of nonsense, crap ass answer is that? He starts using controllable standpoints. What kind of stupidity is this guy spewing, Steve?
Well,
what kind of nonsense is
dude,
this?
if he said he was, we'll see if I come back next year if I'm going to evaluate it.
No, but like controllable standpoint, schematic standpoint. What the fuck is he talking about, Steve?
You're talking about Mike McDaniel, right?
Yeah, what's he saying? Well, they're down 100.
I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
No,
because if he hasn't figured it out by now after 4 or 5 years, I don't care what he says now. It's not going to happen. But anyway, this all goes back to what we've all been talking about, what Britt has been talking about, what Greg has been talking about. We draft well, but we draft the wrong people that are to fit the system that we are in.
I wouldn't say
We
draft
draft
well.
we just don't draft well. But here's the thing, and this is what I'm kind of elated about. We got Troy Aikman, and hopefully, I'm hoping that he can put some sense into Ross's mind and pick the right GM. Hopefully they pick the right GM. We get the right GM, the right coach in place. And, as far as talent goes, evaluating, we've got scouts. We've got scouts that go to all these games and things like that. Okay. The GM, sure, he should have the final word of who we pick, right? And he should be a good talent evaluator, right? But until then, we're just going to be going around in circles if we keep Mike McDaniel this year. I know I had a podcast where I talked about why we should keep Mike McDaniel. And the reason why I said why we should keep Mike McDaniel is because I thought they were going to bring him back along with Champ Kelly, and there'd be some continuity there.
I thought too.
Yeah, but at this point in time, now that Ross went out and did something probably uncomfortable for him, right? And got a guy like a Troy Aikman to input his evaluation and what he feels as a GM. I think we're in the right track. Hopefully, Brandon Shore, Tom Garfinkel, Stillman, Ross, hopefully they listen to this guy, right? And they put the GM in place that he suggests. And if that's the case, then let's just see what the GM wants to do. If the GM wants to coach or not. Now, here's a caveat to that. If this GM that they hire sticks with Mike McDaniel, he's not the right GM.
Oh, not a chance. Out the door. Or Tua.
Yeah.
If Tua's on
Or
the
Tua.
roster,
Or Tua.
raise your hands here. If anyone thinks that we should accept any GM that could justify keeping Mike McDaniel and keeping Tua on the roster for next season, that person literally, the interview's over. The Zoom gets cut out.
Just to save cap. And then I bench him.
But they don't need to save cap. He's a toxic. Think about the way Quinn was playing today. Quinn was actually playing similar to the way Tua plays, meaning that they were playing this dink and dunk, which I will now move on to Greg. Greg, you brought it up yesterday. We joke around in our text.
I gotta go. My Steelers people are here.
Okay, enjoy. If you want to join
Courtney,
back after,
good to see you.
you're sick of the Steelers, you're welcome to join back.
Bye.
Okay.
So, Greg, we talked about explosive plays. If you look at how many passes behind the line of scrimmage, like even if the play is not there, he's still throwing it there. Like what I saw today was there's no explosion. Mike McDaniel, even now, without the players without Tyreek Hill, there is no explosive play. But he doesn't even have the quarterback. But unless you go get a great quarterback, but even Drake May today, I didn't think Drake May was doing anything explosive. I think he's a talented. I honestly think, if he becomes an MVP over Matt Stafford, then the football is more rigged than I think. Do you know that Drake May guys, the New England Patriots winning percentage players, because you know how people always say the Dolphins don't beat good teams. The winning percentage of the teams that they played this year was under 340. It's the worst group of worst losing percentage of a team ever facing at the end of a season in NFL history. Yes, they beat those teams, but that's ridiculous. But what I saw today, yes, you can have personnel talent, but Mike McDaniel, it's the game management, the time management, the illegal shifts, that's talent, but that's just lack of preparation. Like Studsville, awful preparation of running game. Weaver, no accountability to get your stuff out of the game. Like there's no fire. Mike McDaniel, after giving up 14 points, Greg, was still in his fucking play call sheet. Come on, what do you care anymore? Shouldn't you be fighting for the job? Like it's ridiculous. You're playing for a little bit of pride. You're playing a division rival. You could control them not getting getting a home playoff game. You could control a lot of things today. It was embarrassing, Greg.
Well, yeah, it was embarrassing because you put out a lineup with players who probably shouldn't be in the league. All right, I keep going back to this.
Yeah.
All right, Quinn Ewers doesn't start for anybody next year at quarterback. Nobody.
No.
Okay.
And the
Right, Gordon aren't running backs for anybody next year.
and
Okay,
then right.
Don't
Look at the
get
receivers.
gets cut and picked up by Miami, and now he's a tight end number 2, if not 3 at best. None of the wide receivers that played today should be on NFL rosters next year.
Yeah.
Okay. At some point,
And it was all backup offensive line too. Like it was backup right tackle, backup right guard, backup center.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Paul got hurt. You know,
Well, didn't Brewer play? Didn't Brewer play
Brewer
today?
played
bit.
today.
For a
Oh, he
little bit.
recovered the fumble. He recovered the fumble.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he
Brewer,
played.
Brewer was taken out after some point. What's his name was put in?
Oh, Mayer.
Yeah.
but
Andrew
Or
Mayer
Meyer.
didn't play, yeah.
th-
Later in the game.
there's no explosive plays there, especially when you're playing a good team. Now, the New England record, okay? Why is New England's opponent's record so bad? Okay? They play the same teams as Miami, basically, except Miami has to play New England twice, and New England has to play Miami
We played
twice.
them well the first time we played them. We should have won that game.
All right, but that's part of the reason for it. Okay, New England didn't beat anybody. They beat the same teams Miami beat, except Miami got their ass kicked by other teams that New England beat that were bad and have
point.
proven to play bad.
Browns.
Right? Huh?
The
Yeah.
Browns beat the hell out of us. But and this is where, so I was looking at something real quick, and this is what's I don't know. I don't know what Ross is thinking. I look at the way the season went, like the Baltimore blowout loss, like that was like kind of like the end of like the bad for a while this season, and we were 2-7 after that. So and then we beat Buffalo, and then we went what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-3 after that, right? So in the last 8 games we went 5-3. I hope that's not enough to keep McDaniel. I really do. I really hope it's not enough. But something tells me after going 2-7 and then finishing 5-3, it might be enough. But Brian Flores also started out 1-6, 1-7, and then went 8-1, and finished the season 9-8, and then they ended up firing him. So I'm like, fingers crossed, and they just clean house. But I don't know. And I'm not blaming McDaniel for all of it, because a lot of it is talent, but a lot of it's coaching. But also, like you said, they benched Waddle, they benched Achane, they benched their best weapons that they had left, and they got a bunch of scrubs playing. And now, granted, I'm not making excuses, but if Tua was playing with those scrubs or backups, people would have made all the excuses. Oh, well, Tua's not playing with good players, this and that. Like,
I was just gonna make make mention about that,
Right.
Britt. Actually, now this is just my perspective, and I didn't want to cut you off. Would you finish, or did I?
Yeah,
cut
go
you
ahead.
off?
We have guys. We're not going anywhere for a while. So
Well, I was just gonna say, even with all the scrubs, with the wide receivers, no Achane, as you said, some no Austin Jackson, backup guard on the right side,
I want him gone.
rookie left
Yeah.
guard, and all that, and then the tight ends you all just mentioned. I still think Ewers didn't do too bad for his third start as a 7th round rookie.
He's not the problem. He should compete to be a backup in the league. He's fine to be a backup. But to see what I saw today, the stupid penalties, the lack of effort, the defense giving up. Guys, how often, Greg and Brett and Steve, go on this. Every game this season, the moment the offense in the third quarter does not perform, go back. If we go watch right now, all of us, Greg and Brett, we should do it. Guys, we should go back and look at all 22s. I guarantee you look at every time Tua or Quinn failed in the third quarter of a game, the defense gave up 7 every time, or 3, mostly 7. I don't remember a game where the Dolphins didn't score since Halloween, where the other team, whether it was Tampa, whether it's Baltimore, whether it's Pittsburgh, whether it's Buffalo, it didn't matter who. Even when we won against Buffalo, we give up points the moment the offense fails. The defense gets pissed at the performance of the offense. This sort of goes back, guys. Greg and Brett, we weren't doing shows as much back then, but Steve, you and I were obviously engaging. When the defense was pissed off when Flores got fired. They were pissed at Tua. Remember all those reports, guys, came out that people were not a big fan of Tua. The defense had problems with him. The veterans. The defense gets mad at the offense. You could see it. They're fuming at the offense, and they quit. They go, "We're not going to try anymore, Greg. Why should we try? The offense stinks. Why should we even try? Let's just run, go." Like the Ramondre Stevenson touchdown. Did any defender give a shit that he was there? No defender was within even 10 yards of him. He's a running back. He just run past them.
Which touchdown? He had like 8 today. No,
Oh, by the way, I would have won.
No, I think they had three,
My
two
friend,
or three
if
each. I don't remember the running back.
if my semifinals was last week, not this week, like I got screwed. Ramondre Stevenson waited 1 week late for my fantasy. He was ridiculous today. But though, let me ask you, Brett. Like I've never seen a team that never bring the other team. Like the famous line, I'm sure, because you've coached for many years, Greg. You explain this to me. If a defense struggles, like in hockey, a goalie will save you. In baseball, a pitcher can win you a game. In basketball, your best players could win you a game. In football, it's a much bigger roster on the field, right? They're not 11, but they have more. The team really has. I've never seen a defense quit when the offense doesn't perform.
It's I don't know if quit's the right word, but there is definitely a point where if the offense isn't performing, where the defense is kind of throws their hands up and says, we can't. There's nothing we can do to win this game, essentially, and vice versa, right? I mean, I've been on teams and on staffs where basically there's a lot of finger pointing between the units. Offense blaming offense is saying that the defense isn't keeping up their part of the game, and vice versa, right? It's hard to maintain team unity like that, especially in a long NFL season, all right, or a long college season. I would hope that professionals would play all the time, like their job depended on it. But we know that doesn't happen either. Right. So, it is rough. All right. But some of the scheme stuff today that New England did, all right, the touchdown pass to Stevenson, right? It was basically a man coverage. They split him out wide. They put Brooks out there with him on a linebacker, and basically Stevenson is a pretty good receiver as a running back, and he ran a sluggo, and got wide open. It was an easy throw. I mean, that's part of the scheme. That was a McDaniel, or not McDaniel. That coached the offensive coordinator for New England.
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. Yeah.
Yes.
Close.
That's basically a film touchdown. That's studying film. That's understanding what the defense is going to do and telling Drake May, when you see this look, throw him the football. I mean, that's basically what it is, right? But again, Miami was on the road evaluating talent with players that basically aren't that good against a team battling for the first number 1 overall seed in the AFC, right? This was a huge mismatch. And Steve, I'm going to agree with you that I thought Ewers played well. He made a couple bad choices.
Yeah.
But that's what rookies do.
Sure.
Expect in a third start. He has shown enough to give an opportunity to next year.
Yeah,
I agree.
He's talented. He's far more talented than we've seen at quarterback in a while.
And there were a couple throws that he barely missed today that I think he'll get better at. Mm-hmm. Once he gets a little bit more work. As far as the motion penalties and things like that went on today. All right. Again, you got a bunch of guys who have never worked together, basically crammed into a couple weeks of preparation here, trying to figure things out. I mean, some of these guys were running scout team, 2 weeks ago. They
Yeah.
weren't running the regular playbook. All right. So this game was going to be a blowout unless the defense played well. And guess what? The defense doesn't play well. All right.
Mhm.
If you want to look at this entire season, in my opinion, all right, and just kind of an overall thing, I'm not necessarily – I didn't think the offense would be this bad, but I didn't expect a lot out of them, all right? I thought the defense should be better. The defense was a huge disappointment this year, in my opinion. They did not play well, basically almost from start to finish. They had a good stretch where they played a bunch of backups and rookies, and they all those games just kind of happened to be, one after the other. So it looked like they were improving, but I don't know if they really did.
I think
agree.
the linebackers would have been a lot better if I think they made the wrong decisions. I think the constantly starting Terrell Dodson was a bad choice. I think Willie Gay. Every time Willie Gay's on the field, the defense all of a sudden would play better. Not so much today because it was pretty much done, but it just feels like they're making the wrong decisions. And then Zach Sealer all of a sudden stopped showing up. And then, you see how he's playing. And again, like Greg had pointed out, Zach Sealer is a good defensive tackle, but he's not an elite guy. He needs that star next to him to kind of allow him to be who he is. But I also think I've been saying that Zach Sealer is also misused too. And I don't think Weaver's using the right guys. I do think the defense is talented enough to be better. I mean, this is the best linebacker core I've seen in a long while, especially with Brooks and Willie Gay and all. But it's just there's no communication whatsoever on the defense, and that's bad.
Well,
Safeties are bad.
About the linebackers. I'm going to say this about the linebackers, all right? They're not awful, okay? But I don't think they're elite either.
No.
Okay?
They're just better than we had with the crap with what's his name, Baker and all.
Yes, and Brooks makes tackles, all right? But part of the reason why he's leading the league in tackles is because the offense never stays on the field, and there's a lot of plays being run against this defense, okay? If the defense was actually better, Brooks wouldn't have as many tackles.
Well, yeah,
that's because a lot of
field tackler though. Him and Willie Gay are the best field tacklers, but they don't ever use them. They don't ever use Willie Gay, which is
and the reason why he makes a lot of tackles in the beginning of the year was because he was making a lot of tackles because the running back would be running downfield, in the open field.
Yep.
So that's where he got a lot of, he made a lot of his tackles. And a lot of missed tackles in the front line as well. Yeah. So once they bust through the front 3 or 4, who else is left but Brooks?
Well, the thing is, in the defensive line, this is what Greg and I talked about. We gotta get physical. And then they get up to, of course, and I'm not gonna point out who said it, but a lot of the guys on Twitter were like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be a great pick, this and that." A lot of if you see the guys who are hyping up certain players, that's probably the wrong pick. That's probably the wrong player. But just the guys we got were just not that great. Zeke Biggers to me and Jordan Phillips were better picks.
Yes, they were.
Tackle, and that's again the late day 3 guys are the better ones. But let's get more physical. Well, how physical did we look this season? Well, we didn't look physical at all. Why? Because the physical part. It's not that the teams are more physical. Why are the Chiefs the best team in the NFL all the time, except for this year? Why have the Chiefs been the dynasty right now? Or even the Eagles? Everybody, the Eagles are physical. No, they're talented. They have more talent. They do their jobs. Why were the Patriots good for so many years? It wasn't because of physicality. They were physical when they needed to, but it's because they were well coached and their fundamentals were on point. Their offensive linemen, their offensive line was always good. Eagles offensive line is always good. Chiefs offensive line is always good. Why? Because they know how to draft and develop guys and where to find them instead of draft them early. It's not about being physical. Football is a physical sport. It's about a mentality too. Mm-hmm. And I also think that the team, part of what you're saying, Evan, why do we have lopsided second halves? Why does the team seem to give up? The mentality of the players that we draft are the kind of guys who just have that wavering confidence. Just kind of oh, whatever. You know, just kind of like throw in the towel or stomp their feet when things don't go their way.
Tantrums. They're having tantrums.
Yeah, like I didn't like did I like how Brian Flores was using Minka Fitzpatrick? No. Did Minka? No. But what did he do? He kind of got pissed off about it. They traded him. Derwin James, he don't care. You know, he does not care. He's the kind of guy.
Ramsey got moved today this year by Tomlin. Didn't care.
The safety, yeah. Like you need guys that are just. It's the mentality of the guys that they draft that is not always there. They want nice guys, but you need guys who could flip that switch and turn it on and be that like. Yeah, I suck right now. Like Joe Burrow saying when they got blown out against the Ravens, he said, "Yeah, no one's going to win with the way I've been playing." He's not saying he sucks. He's just saying right now he's not playing good enough. He needs to play better, right? So, but like Tua, oh, do I really suck? And it's not just him. You got guys who are just like the mentality. So it's Greg said it, and I think it's the right way. It's not a physicality toughness. It's up here.
Oh, they have no mental fortitude.
Toughness.
They have no. You knew. Like, I'll give you an example. When you look back, the famous, remember, guys, we know this better than anything. When the Falcons paid the Patriots, remember that play where, what's his name, Brady, who never typically runs outside the pocket, ran outside the pocket, and he sort of like looked ridiculous, and he almost tripped on his own 2 feet, and he fell backwards. He came in the second half, and because he's so mentally up here, Mendoza, I don't think it's his arm, physical. He's mentally strong up here. He's well coached by his coach. Drake May, it's not his talent on the field. Vrabel has it built in him. It's up here. Roethlisberger, I don't think was such a great quarterback, but Tomlin, when he was there, had it in his brain at the beginning. He's strong up here. Favre made a lot of mistakes. What was he? Up here. It didn't matter how bad as Peyton Manning was at the end of his career. What did he have? IQ up here. Yeah. Stafford making mistakes. Smart quarterback. There's a particular guy on this panel who I believe, I said this today on the pregame show, Brett, that I think the best thing for Dan Campbell next season is to get rid of Jared Goff. Yeah. Jared Goff is his hindrance right now. The same way I said to McDaniel this year, him and Tua have to get divorced. I think Goff and Campbell need to get divorced. If they run it back with each other again, they're not going to do well again next season. There's a mental lack of fortitude up in the brain. As physical as you want to be, you know who had an awful game today? Who was his worst game of the season? Patrick Paul. I never heard 52 get penalized as much as he did. It was his worst game of the year.
A lot of mental
errors. He was grabbing. He was holding. He was jumping. He was antsy. He was nervous. Something was off today with him. So, as much as, by the way, and guys, and Greg, Steve, I want to get your point. I have a feeling McDaniel's still going to be back somehow, some way. I don't know what Ross is going to do, but they actually announced, Omar Kelly just posted, I need to read more about it. When they had the team meeting at the end, you saw Brandon Shore there. You saw Champ Kelly there. You saw Tom Garfinkel there. You saw Steve Ross there. You know who wasn't there the first time they haven't seen him in a while? Marino wasn't there. So I don't know what that sort of teeth. But there's something mentally up. Like there's something up there, Steve. Like the mental fortitude is just absolutely. There's something like there's no IQ on this football team. There's no common sense on this football team. Everything is overthinking.
You made a good point because when now I know this is going back some time, but back in the 70s when Don Shula was running the show as the head coach, Larry Zonka made a comment. I saw him on a podcast. He was talking, and he said before Don Shula even whenever he'd get a free agent or whatever, he'd have an interview with that free agent or rookie or whoever it was. They had to have a certain mentality, IQ, football IQ. And that goes to show because everybody in that 70s Miami Dolphins football team, when they were in that dynasty, they were all smart, man. The quarterback, the wide receivers, the defensive tackles, they all had high IQs. And that makes a big difference. And they weren't that physical of a team either. They just had high IQ, football IQs.
All elite teams do, and that's Andy Reid, elite, intelligent guy. Sean Payton, again, people underestimate how intelligent he is when it comes to football.
Yeah,
it's the coaching. Like Nick Saban Why is Alabama always a good team under him? Why was Nick Saban so good?
They wouldn't have lost like this. By the way, they never would have lost the way they did to Indiana if Nick Saban's on the sideline. Nick
No.
Saban never suffered a loss like that.
Because Nick Saban could pay more money than everybody else, and that's why he always won.
Yeah.
No, but why did
when
Caleb
NIL came in, he quit because he's a little bitch.
But the reality is though, like his team, like
other than that, I like him.
They always know. His players always know game time situations. They always understand game situations. Majority of them, anyway. You're not going to get all 53 or whatever the roster is in college now. You're not going to get them all aboard all the time. But in the NFL, if you get your majority of your starters, especially like your captains and your key positions, where they know what they need to do, or they know what your teammate needs to do, so they know what they need to do, it becomes a keeping each other accountable. And if you coach it to the point where these guys know what they need to do, but what you need for a coach to be able to do that is getting the guys that do that, like getting their guys, like getting guys that understand that. So that's where you need a GM and coach on the same exact page. This is what we look for. This is how we find it. This is how we do it. That's why you need a coach to develop it, the front office, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. Just it has to be on the same page, and if it's not, it doesn't work.
And I'm going to take this back a little bit. All right, let's go back to the Pittsburgh game and Troy Aikman's commentary on Monday Night Football about why Miami's not speeding things up and why aren't they rushing or anything like that? You know, advancing plays and things like that. Right? It was a legitimate ask. Why isn't Miami speeding up? Okay. Because Tua couldn't do it.
Can't throw.
All right. He can't do it. He mentally, he was not in a position to basically handle that much information in a fast amount of time. McDaniel knew this. And McDaniel basically said, I can't do this. I can't run a hurry up with him right now. It took Tua a long time to process the play calls, to get to the line of scrimmage, to identify everything, to make everything move and happen, okay, without speeding up, asking him to speed up. It was a problem. And it's been a problem not just this year, but it's been a problem over multiple years. Okay. And I don't want to bash this. I don't want to make any assumptions here or anything like that, but the last 3 weeks, there haven't been delay of games on offense. There hadn't had to be timeouts, a bunch of timeouts called because the playing clock was running out. All right. What really changed? The quarterback.
Yep. 100%.
Okay. We can say that maybe McDaniel simplified the system and things like that for the rookie. Potentially. We won't know that. We'll never know that. But there was a dramatic shift over these last 3 games compared to the last 3.5 years when it comes to that.
Yeah.
All right. And what was one of the knocks on Tua coming out of college? He has a low Wonderlic.
Yeah.
Test, all right.
Exactly.
I had a lot of knocks on him.
People question his mental ability to pick up things out of college, and it was part of his draft
The
evaluation.
concussions could be having an effect on it.
And
so
I said that 2 years ago that I noticed something his change in disposition, the way he talked, the way things he said,
the way he laughs, the stuff that he's saying in press conferences. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Either he's a moron or what? Because what he says in press conferences this year, being so honest, no one should be that honest.
Hold on.
I've never been that honest in my life.
All right. So it's what I think the concussion is a little bit of a cop out for him not being mentally prepared.
So is he stupid?
No, I think he's lazy. I think he's mentally lazy. I don't think he prepares mentally for the game like he should.
Oh, that's obvious.
On the field 5 hours before throwing.
So I don't think he's preparing more. I don't think he's doing the extra that he should be doing. That's right. Now the awkwardness or the saying, being blunt, honest and stuff. So because I have dealt with that before, with ADHD, I tend to kind of say something, and then later on, I'm like, shit, why the hell did I say that? Why did I tell them that? Like, like, damn, I shouldn't have even said that. Like, so it's like, it's sometimes it's not that you can't control it, but it's something you have to work on and be constantly conscious of it. So it's not easy, but like eh, when you're sometimes you get frustrated and you sometimes you just say what's on the front of your mind, and you really should be pushing it to the back of your mind. Like, I'm not going to say that. It's something you have to work towards and do. And it did take me a long time to do that, but so I get like where the frustration with that is. But again, as a NFL quarterback, you can't have that. And it sucks because like if he has that, like he has an extra battle to fight with that. But I think he's kind of mentally lazy. Which maybe he's like me, has ADHD, where I was mentally lazy for a long time. I had to, when I was going to college and working full time, like after the military, I had to force myself to sit down and study and do it. Like in high school, I didn't want to do it. I graduated with B's barely, like 80, whatever, because I was lazy. I didn't do the extra work to get A's. So I get it. Like it's harder, but you have to, that's your career. That's what you want to do. So you have to fight it. So I really, from what I see, is like something I used to, because it's similar to what I used to be in my 20s. So I'm like, I think he's just mentally lazy and isn't doing the extra work, and is just kind of happy with where he's at. And on the surface, good for you. You got paid. I'm not mad at you for getting paid. The organization's the dumbasses who did it. Right. So enjoy your money, enjoy your family, enjoy taking care of your family, your endorsements and stuff, and live a happy life. But guys who want to be good have to be obsessed and live and breathe it. And that's not easy to do. It's not for everybody. It's not for me.
Like Marino did it.
Yeah. So like in order to be great, you have to do it. And there is no halfway to it. Yeah. So that's where I don't know if the concussions are why. I just think he's just mentally just lazy.
Yeah. So before we move on, we have a lot more to talk about. Everyone who's watching, we really appreciate everyone watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're probably going to have Sammy joining us in a little bit after he gets off Finn's Faithful. Don't forget to check out that show. Bobby's running a little bit behind. But as a side note, just want to congratulate Bobby Finn's Talk on Finn's TV. He won the NFL. He won our Pick'em League.
Oh, wow.
So he'll get the big, fat, ugly ring, which I'm sure he will blast into our people's faces all season that he beat all of us. We were part of it. So congratulations, Bobby. We won't repeat this when you come on the show later because you actually missed the opportunity to give yourself a cheap pop like Mick Foley. That's okay. Anyone who's a WWE fan would know what that means. I want to get back to Duke, who's a great supporter of the show. We can get into this question, then we'll talk about a bunch of other topics. What position would you draft? Well, I think, guys, I'll just start it off quickly. I think we need to draft everything, but if you're in the first round, unless there's a star quarterback there that you really like, I wouldn't touch. But it has to be like you guys have taught me, Greg and Brett, wide receiver, cornerback. If a Dobbs is there, if a Tate is there, I don't from Iowa State, you guys can go into the players. Premium positions. I don't want to see an edge rusher. If Bain is somehow sitting there, or Dave Bailey, if we want to trade back, go get David Bailey. I like him from Texas Tech. I want premium positions. I don't want to see a D lineman. I don't want to see O lineman. I don't want to see a running back. I don't want to see a quarterback. I would go to the second round. I've been researching Drew Alar. I like him. If people are bringing him up, Brett taught me about him. He could be a sneak. You don't know. But what do you guys think? It has to be premium position. They need to start from scratch. Like you saw today. No premium running back on this team, like premium, no premium wide receiver, and this is not a great quarterback draft. And I think you can go get a decent one in the second round or third round. So, Steve, you can go first, and then we can get the experts below to go.
Yeah, sure. I agree. I think we can hold off on the quarterback until 27. We got Ewers. He's going to be here. He's on a rookie contract. Give him a shot to compete. Even if he is our starting quarterback, for 2027 or whatever, let him be a stopgap. What I would do is I'd bring in a veteran quarterback, right? There's going to be a bunch of them out there, a veteran quarterback on the cheap. You don't have to pay him too much. And, you got Cam Miller. They got during the middle of the week. I don't know much about him from North Dakota. Other than that, I don't know much about him. I know Tom Brady endorsed him. But, have the quarterbacks compete and see what yours can do. Let him play a full year. Let him play a full year. And then, I would draft maybe a wide receiver first round or a cornerback. And you got to get an edge rusher, somewhere in there, maybe
Chop Robinson,
second,
not a
third
good
round.
pick.
Chop
Not
Robinson
a.
has
I'm
been a
sorry. I
big
know Wingate
disappointment.
likes him, guys. Not a good second year. Sophomore slump like I've ever seen one.
We've got a lot of holes on this
Oof.
team. I mean,
Wait till
I know
the schedule, guys.
oh,
We're gonna get to the schedule for next year.
yeah,
Quick
it's
for
tough.
2026.
It's
If I
tough.
read you the games we have on the road, and oh my God, are we gonna get our
It's
stuff?
tough.
Wait till we go over that schedule after. We're gonna spend a while about the schedule. Oh God, we did not get an easy schedule for next year. Holy cramoly, who were we facing? But
Yeah,
Greg,
I
what
know.
are your thoughts on honestly, when I look back, Tate McMillan, if we would have had even with people were saying, oh, we have Waddle, we have Hill. The Carolina Panthers don't make the playoffs without Tate McMillan, a premium position player.
No, correct. And look, the state of wide receiver on this team is horrible.
Awful.
And you're going to be Miami's probably going to be top 10, 12 picks. You probably should.
We're just to let confirmed. We're 11th.
Okay. We should, in my mind, that has to be wide receiver. All right. And if you assume Hill's gone, and if you assume everybody that played today shouldn't play ever, okay, that leaves you one wide receiver in Waddle. Okay, you need a wide receiver in this league. You cannot compete without explosive plays from your wide receivers. Mm-hmm. All right, so wide receiver is basically a must, and then anything in the secondary. The secondary has to be completely rebuilt outside of Minka.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing there. All right. It was hidden for a couple games here and there when you played some bad quarterbacks and some backup quarterbacks, but there's nothing in that secondary that scares anybody.
Guys, I need to just breaking news. Ready for this one? No, this is just funny. Joe Shad, who's one of the worst reporters I've ever seen. I don't know if you think, what do you think of him? This is the focus of him right now. Jake Bailey had an average punt of 42.6 yards per punt. That is the greatest punting average in Dolphins history. Then he followed it up, guys.
No.
Riley Patterson finished with a mark of 27 of 29. That 93.1%, the most accurate field goal kicking in Dolphins history. On the last game of the season, our focus is the fact that our kickers had the best season in Dolphins history, Greg. That's the focus of our reporter.
You know what's funny? But you know what's funny about that? Is we paid Jason Sanders, and here we are. Sanders is hurt. We get Riley Patterson to fill in, and he does a good job. Weird. And why are we in cap hell again? Because we keep
overpaid
the
players.
Guys. Dang. Like Sanders was good when we paid him, but good Lord, they acted like you couldn't find another good kicker. Like, jeez.
Well, and again,
I had to laugh about that.
Yeah, well, I think Brett's going to agree with me on the wideout and the DBs and things like that. And Josh asked a little bit earlier, do you pay Achane? No. I don't like paying running backs, but
I franchise tag him
unless they're studs. I'm not paying them.
No, I let him play out his contract, and if he holds out, he holds up. But I'd franchise tag him.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of tough decisions that are going to be made this offseason. Mm-hmm. And Evan, you stole a little bit of my thunder because next season, 2026,
we're going to go to
schedule.
Don't talk about it. We're going to get to it.
Is brutal.
Yeah. What do you think, Steve? Oh, yeah, no, but no, Brett. So, Brett, if you want to just jump on, I know you talked about how we need to get a good running back. We have to get a quarterback. We have to get edge rushers. We have to get all these players. And I think you can get your linemen and your O linemen in the later rounds. I believe we have a lot of picks there. I would honestly trade back. Like, honestly, at this point, unless you have a stud wide receiver there, get as many picks as you can because you're going to have to fill this roster with young players because you're in cap hell.
Yeah.
But no, you have to go premium. Like, you need to go wide receiver or corner in this draft. You don't have. I don't think Jack Jones should be the starter next year. I wouldn't. Cater Cole should not be your starter next year. Maybe you give Rasul Douglas, but if I'm Rasul Douglas, I'm not coming back.
Wait, how about
I'm not
you
back.
forgot Storm Duck?
Whew.
Although, hang on, Jason. Hold on, Marshall played pretty well this season, and I think he'll do pretty good outside.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah, but he's not a starter.
But
He'll develop.
He was a late draft pick. He's been.
Mhm.
I'm not saying he's the future, but I think there's a cheap option there.
Yeah.
But if you're talking, so first round, we need impact players, right? Now, normally, I'm not for safety in the first round, right? Not normally. But Caleb Downs, and I know it's going to be Ohio State, but Caleb Downs is a guy who comes in and changes your secondary right away. He's a playmaker. He's going to go after the ball. He's going to make tackles. He's going to.
Or Dobbs.
Huh?
Which player did you just mention? Sorry,
Caleb Downs.
Caleb Downs. Yeah, I would take him.
Normally, I wouldn't go safety that early unless they're. To me, safety's like running back in the first round.
He's like Kyle Hamilton. Like,
Yeah, you need that. If he's going to be that good, then you take him.
Can I ask you something? This is for the whole panel.
Yeah.
Where do we draft another right tackle and guard? Because we need a right tackle and a right guard.
I'm not
You
going
could sign-
early. You
No.
sign him.
You could sign one. You know Daniels is back, right? Even though if you don't want it, James Daniels is back. You can
Another
survive with
injury
him.
prone.
Well, you
lineman.
could re-sign Cole Strange. It's not the end of the world.
Daniels
the right
wasn't injured
tackle,
until
unless you cut off, I
last
would
year.
cut Austin Jackson, and I would just
No, he's been. If you go back in his history, he's had an injury history.
yeah, I
So
would cut Austin
the Bears,
Jackson.
he was good. Yeah, Jackson's got to go. See, I like
Yeah,
Patrick
Jackson.
Paul. I think he's played well.
Yeah,
Oh,
he had
yeah.
a bad game
Patrick
today.
Paul's good.
Yeah, Cole Strange did fine at guard. I think he's more of a
fine.
center.
He's a
than
first round
guard.
pick.
Yeah, you need to probably move him to center. I actually saw him at the Senior Bowl. I liked what he did, but he was limited athletically. But I don't know. I was actually surprised to see him go in the first round. But I would move him to center if Brewer's gone. But anyway,
How about guard? Would you move him to left guard, taking Sevenia's place, and
I
then
don't
draft a right guard? Or
I don't know. I'd probably go late draft for a guard. I'm not.
What we
going
learned today, what we
the
learned
second or
today,
third round.
what we learned today, Steve and Greg, and what I learned, and I've learned it from you guys as well. As bad as the offensive line, even as good, the offensive line today had its struggles. It's fine, but the problem with our offensive line is they're an outside run zone offensive line. The
Yes.
moment you have to go, unless you're Achan who can break tackles, who has speed, if you're expecting this offensive line to break the middle of the field, you're expecting this offensive line to pass protect, it's poorly constructed. It's not that they're a bad offensive line. The offensive line on a lot of teams are misunderstood. They're not. Most of the offensive lines in this league suck. The Kansas City Chiefs have never had a good offensive line. As good as Creed Humphrey is, they've never had a good offensive line. It's because of the playmakers in the backfield and the way you scheme it up that you can make it work. I'd rather have an average offensive line at the run and at the pass than have a great
100%.
outside zone run offense that can't do anything else.
I'm with you.
Like,
I definitely
I don't want to see Ingold back.
agree.
I don't want to see Julian Hill back. I don't want to see any of these guys back. The offensive line, there's Patrick Paul's fine. Aaron Brewer's fine. The rest,
Yeah.
I don't care. I couldn't care less. I don't want to hear that they're good at run defense. Right. Look how well run. By the way, and like we've said this, guys, run defense, as good as Achan has been as a talented weapon, look at the average points a game we score when he's been the focal point of the offense. I love Achan as a player, but
Wow.
look how phenomenal our offense is, Greg and Brett and Steve, when he's the focal point of your offense.
Well, so the thing is, like, if the back, like with this whole thing, like, this is why I don't go offensive line early.
No.
There's no need for it because, like, you're just like I know a lot of people are gonna say like Francis Mawiga or however you want
Well,
to say his
breaking
name.
news, guys! Just breaking news. First domino: Raheem Morris has been fired by the Atlanta Falcons. First domino.
Yep.
They won today, guys. They went on a winning streak. He fought back. He won with Kirk Cousins. Okay. First domino.
Andy Agar just trashed the Jets. They ended the season with 0 interceptions.
Oh, and Sammy said they would do it. I said they wouldn't do it.
And Andy Agar said, and he played Tua twice. Oh, But like for what I would draft, for me, I'm going premium positions. I'm going pass rush. I am putting that as a premium position because we need it, but honestly, putting
Yeah.
needs aside, you need pass rushers, you need wide receivers, you need corners. Like I said, Caleb Downs kind of transforms your
What do you think of
secondary.
Tate? What do you think of Tate?
I like Tate. I like what's his name a little better,
Would you
but
take him in the first?
yeah. Tate's a good
Greg,
receiver.
would you? Do you like Tate or no? From Ohio State?
I don't know if I. Not at 11. I don't know if I'd do it at
No,
11.
I would trade back.
If you could trade back potentially, I don't know.
I would trade back at this point because I honestly, would you guys be? I would not be upset. We were talking during the game, Brett. I don't. If I'm at 20, if I back up to 20 and David Bailey's on my board, David Bailey is a game wrecker on the backfield.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So David Bailey. I know everybody's going to talk about Ruben Bain. I think it's a good
Bailey
player,
is a dog.
but Bailey is the better rusher. I think I don't think you go wrong with either one of them. But Bailey, his bend and explosiveness, it's just unreal. Like it is just unmatched. But one guy I would look at, and if we could trade down in the first round, is Jeremiah Love. If we could trade down and get to the bottom of the first, the running back from Notre Dame, that is what we need at running back. That's what you need.
Evan, check your DM.
He's Love is one of my favorite players in the draft.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
So
is
guys, I know Steve
explosive.
just mentioned to me that he needs to step out. We're going to go for a while, guys. Don't rush because I want Bobby to be able to join. I can go forever. You know how I am. We like to do our shows. But Steve, any final words? What are your expectations? What are you hoping for coming on this week? Hopefully, what are you hoping for? When you sort of look at this season, we're going to have a show. You let me know when you want to have a show, Steve. But overall, did this season hit your expectations? Did it basically go below your expectations? Like overall, what are your overall thoughts of this? And then we obviously I know where we can find you, what your show plans are this week, and everything, and just
no, my expectations for the Miami Dolphins this year was 8-9 season, so they kind of went below my expectations. I thought if everything went well, all the rookies stepped up. We didn't sustain a lot of injuries or whatnot. I thought we could probably maybe go 10-7. That was our ceiling. I figured realistically 8-9. We went 7-10. So no, they didn't reach my expectations. They actually went below. But my hope for this year is that I'm kind of excited. Because Ross did make some moves there in the front office. I mean, that's something we haven't seen in a long time. We fired Chris Greer. We hired Troy Aikman. So, I think he's trying. I think he's finally realized, hey, I got to get some input here from folks that know what they're talking about, because what's been working, why this hasn't been working is maybe the folks that have been in my ear, So I'm hoping that they hire the right GM. We'll see what the deal is with Mike McDaniel. I'd like to see him go, but if he stays, look, I don't think we're going to be a good team in the next 2 to 3 years anyway, right? But so all this is going to do is if he stays, it might just prolong the rebuild. If he stays this, another year, it's going to prolong the rebuild, in my opinion, unless they fire him in the middle of the season. But then again, it's still going to prolong the rebuild, right? So I'd like to see them get another coach. This way they can start the process of rebuilding right away, right? The coach can pick his quarterback and, who he wants to start and construct this offense and defense, this whole team the way he sees fit, along with the GM. So that's what I'm hoping for, and I'm excited for the offseason. I always am excited for the offseason, no matter what. But this year especially, I am. So I'm hopeful.
Where can we find you? What are your plans for this week?
You can find me every Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern time on the Fins Talk Sports Network, Real Talk Fins Talk. I'll be on this week at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time Tuesday. And also, I plan on having a panel show on Thursday at the same time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, just to have an end of review about the season and what our projection is for the up and coming year. So
It's great.
that's where you can catch me at. And on
Perfect.
Twitter, sometimes I go in there, and that's my playground. I
Yeah.
play around
Oh,
on Twitter.
Brett doesn't get himself in trouble there.
But anyway,
Never.
thanks for having me on. I appreciate
You're
it,
welcome
guys.
anytime. Hopefully we'll see you this week, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just
So
to let you know
y'all have-
before you go, because just to
Mhm.
add some news, we're not going anywhere,
Yep.
Greg and Brett. We still have a lot to talk about.
Mhm.
Terry Fontenot has also been fired by the Falcons. So Arthur
Oh,
Blank,
wow.
who
He
was on the
cleaned house.
sideline, not shy, didn't see what worked for 2 years. Let's go.
Cleaning house.
Oh, he don't
All
play
right.
around. Yep.
But
All right,
Arthur
y'all.
Blank at
Take
least
care.
tries,
Good
right?
night.
Yeah,
Night,
exactly.
guys.
Good night, bud.
So let's
Have a good
continue,
one.
guys. So, Love, I know you just mentioned to me, but so guys, what are your thoughts that a team such as the Atlanta Falcons are cleaning house this quickly, even after a win? And they did a winning streak. They had a winning streak. Kirk Cousins did stuff with Penix out. They won some big games the last couple of weeks, but they realized that this is not the direction they should be going in anymore. So what are your thoughts? And that's after drafting Penix, and that's after signing Kirk Cousins. Raheem Morris had 2 seasons with these guys. They finished with a losing record. They finished 3rd in the division. They were a game away out of the playoffs. Like, what are your thoughts, Greg, on them cleaning house in Atlanta?
A little surprised. I thought they played. I thought they played pretty well when Penix was in there. All right, he gets hurt. That kind of derailed their season. Kirk Cousins is old Tua. Has no arm. Has no ability to manipulate the pocket anymore. Things like that. So
He's smart though, at least.
he is smart. But he doesn't give you a great chance to win. Now, if the coach is being blamed for drafting and things like that, and okay, but it is what it is, and I don't see them turning it around real quick. The nice thing is they're in a bad division. So there's a potential of them getting better quick, unlike Miami that has basically 2 MVP candidates year after year moving forward for the next 10 years at quarterback on 2 different teams. That basically
Heck, if Baltimore loses today, you never know.
Hey,
We could have an MVP candidate as our quarterback next year. You never know.
You need it. It's one of those things that we talked about that you're going to have to compete in this division. So you're going to, over the next 2 years, Miami's going to have to make a lot of really hard decisions at the quarterback position and at a few other positions just to compete in this division.
So we were bringing it up, and then we'll come back to a couple of other things as we're going to follow the NFL for a while. So let's just talk, Greg and Brett. The schedule came out for the Dolphins next season. So our home games, you have Buffalo, you have New England, you have the Jets, you have KC, you have the Chargers, you have Burrow and the Bengals, you have Caleb Williams, and you have the Lions. That is maybe with the exception of the Jets, and who knows what's going to happen with Burrow in Baltimore. You have Herbert, Mahomes, May, Williams, Goff, and Allen. Like you talk about elite quarterbacks, with the exception of who knows what the Jets probably won't have one, but the exception of maybe Detroit, but Detroit's just an overall good football team. Everyone in there has a quarterback and a good head coach that are coming in. Then on the road, you got to go back to Buffalo, go to back to New England, back to the Jets as usual. Then you got to go into Denver. Screw that.
Right.
The Raiders, they're probably going to have Mendoza and a new head coach there. Who knows? Probably what they're already predicting there is that Brady wants to bring back the old guard at New England and bring in Dayball to be the OC and Flores to be the coach. That'd be interesting. Got to go back to New England. Got to go back to face Tyler Warren and maybe Daniel Jones in Indianapolis. Then you got to go back and face Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. Then you got to go face you have to go face Andrew Van Ginkel and the Vikings, and then you got to go face San Francisco. So when you look at that schedule, Brett, first reaction for a team that finished 7-10, that is a murderer's row schedule. That is no fun. Like, the home games are not easy. You're not playing easy home teams, and on the road, depending on where these games fall, Green Bay, Buffalo, to Denver, and New England and San Francisco. Right away there, that I'm looking there 5 games that are going to be tough football games of your 8 home. Like, what are your thoughts on when you see that? And by the way, you have 9 road games. So what are your thoughts when you hear the schedule of who they have to go face next year? This is not going to be fun.
I don't really care. I mean, it never really. You play who you play.
Yeah, but
who's
it's
in front
just
of
a
you.
rough schedule.
We
They all
suck.
have good quarterbacks. A lot of them have good quarterbacks.
And guess what? We don't.
No.
So if you think
And
about
good
it,
head coaches.
good. Maybe we'll have like a losing season, and we'll have a chance at a top quarterback in next year's draft. I mean, it is what
You
it
better
is.
not say Arch Manning. You
Right.
better not say Arch Manning.
We just don't know like who's. Well, we don't even know if he's going to declare in 27. He said he wants to play all 4 years.
I wouldn't rush him. I would go 4 years.
Yeah.
If I had 4 years on him.
I don't know if he's going to come out in 27. He might not come out to 28. So
He's making he's making him probably close to $10 million a year, and if he signs a rookie contract, he's going to be making like 4 or 5.
yeah, he's
Okay.
not coming out.
Yeah.
So like in my opinion, unless like something drastically changes, like I'm not looking necessarily just for him, but 27 has some better talent at quarterback. But it doesn't really matter. You're still going to go after one this year, but you play who you play, and then like you end up losing. You see what you have on the roster. You see what you've done. Honestly, this first year, it's going to be 26 is going to be ugly, and we had a chance to maybe have this as our ugly year, but you know, the Ross was too stupid to listen, and now we delayed it again. So now we're going to be looking at like this is going to be 2019 all over again. So this is going to be an ugly year. They're going to have to purge the roster again. They're going to have to get rid of all the bad contracts again. And it's all going to come down to the GM that they hire and the head coach that they decide on. Like, but I don't look for anything next year to be good. Like, I don't look for anything to be exciting next year or anything like
Unless they get the right head coach.
Right. And the right GM.
The right bridge quarterback.
Yeah.
And the right talent evaluator.
But you're going to have holes all over this roster. You're going to have holes at receiver, holes at running back, holes at tight end.
You can draft them.
Edge rushers, linebacker, safety, corner. Like there's holes at every position, at every level of defense is going to be depleted again. So it's really going to just come down to the coaching staff they have in place, the front office in place, and can they find guys off the street for good contracts? Like they're going to be waiting till like, I don't know, like the third wave of free agency, like right before the draft and after the draft where they make decisions. So
no, I'm going to disagree somewhat with that, Brett. And I'll say it this way.
You guys disagree? What guys, a pig flew. A pig flew. They disagreed on something. Wow.
The hope for next year, all right, is that the new GM and the new scouting department, the new talent evaluators within Miami, actually draft players that are rookies that make immediate impacts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And in the history of Miami for the last, I don't know, dozen years or so, is they never draft rookies that make impacts. Okay. Nope. It usually takes a year or two to get them to, it's very few. Okay.
Chris Chambers, is that the last one?
Very few.
Jarvis
Landry to be honest, the last rookie, maybe because of the way Flores used him, the last rookie to have a good season or made a difference in the development of the team, and I think they should have kept him the way they used him, was Waddle. Waddle had a good rookie season. He did what he had to in that year, but if you look at it, to develop a rookie, to have over 100 receptions, I don't care how you do it, how you slice it, he has not had Waddle has not had a season, Brett and Greg, like he did since his rookie season. He has not even come close.
Oh no.
No, but they're few and far between. That's my point, right? And if you find if it's yours or if it's a veteran that plays solid at quarterback, all right, you could win football games.
Yeah.
Even with this schedule, you could win football games. Now, that being said, this year, because of the way the schedule works, all right, because it's the NFL and it's just the way it works, all right. The AFC North had a down year, and the NFC South sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Based on this year, you're playing the NFC North next year, which is might be the most competitive top to bottom division in football, and the AFC West that's going to have 3 juggernauts to it. Okay. That's why this schedule looks daunting. All right. But you never know what's going to happen with injuries. You never know what's going to happen here and there. But me and my 2 brothers, we haven't gotten together here in Florida in about 10 years. And we talked about doing it in 2026 and going to a game. And, so once the schedule gets basically finalized, we're going to set a weekend, and all 3 of us are going to get together again. And we haven't done it in a long time here.
So
So
be cheap. Don't worry. It's going to cost nothing to get in.
Oh no, the games are going to be laughable. Like we talked about, I said to people, I'm not pre-buying any tickets at any point in any game. I am going to fly to Miami in the morning of the game. I'm going to buy the ticket because no, guys, do you know? I'm not kidding. This season,
no, you don't.
Brett,
You don't have to.
I did this every game. GSG loved it. I used to announce what the ticket prices were.
Yeah.
3 hours, 4 hours before a game, I could buy tickets for less money than it would cost me to go to a movie. It's unbelievable how you could get tickets for $10, $5, $7, $12. Like you can get 50-yard tickets, 50-yard line tickets for like under $100 a ticket, like 2 cup 3 hours before game time. No one wanted to go to these games. It was empty.
Well, the only thing I will say is Miami is still a destination for away teams to come to.
Yeah.
And there are going to be a lot of good teams potentially coming to Miami, where fans are basically will be able to save money by going to games in Miami as opposed to going to home games.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So we're looking at what went on in the league today, and well, I just want to get your perspective before we continue Dolphins. Don't you find that this year, you look at where a lot of the teams fell, this was not a very high-end, very competitive year in the league. When I say that, yes, there was all the adjustments, but I don't know if you guys watched the game last night. Sam Darnold is not a very good quarterback. The man turned over the ball 20 times this season.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Purdy, as much as people praise him, he's not as good as people think he is. You look at New England, the fact that New England, Drake May is a developing quarterback. No Nick is a second-year quarterback. Buffalo fell 2 games behind New England. Look at the fight in the AFC North where no team did well this year. Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence found something. The Texans, their defense is phenomenal, but I said Indianapolis was going to fall off a cliff. When I said this, guys, they were 8-4. I said at 8-4 they wouldn't win another game. I said it on the network every week. They didn't win another game. The Chargers are Harbaugh, I think, built that team up. The Eagles are still struggling. The Bears, Ben Johnson made a very big difference. The Packers, I think, are one and done. They looked awful this season, even at 9-7. The look at the NFC South, awful division. The Rams struggled here and there. I've never seen a more wide open chance to win a Super Bowl I've ever seen. Like, there's no guarantee for any team this year because I don't think the quarterback, when you have Matthew Stafford and Drake May as your MVP candidates, I'm sorry, an aging quarterback and a second-year guy who had the right coach, you wouldn't have done this with Gerard Mayo. It's not the NFL. this year, I don't think was so great. I really don't think it was so great, which only reinforces how bad the Dolphins were. I don't know if you could go first, Brett, but the quality of talent in the NFL this year in terms of quarterback play and overall team play has been very underwhelming in my mind. What are your thoughts on this?
Wait, say that one more time.
The quality of the quarterback play and the NFL play this year has been underwhelming for me this year. The 2025 season will go down as a very underwhelming season for me.
I wanted to make sure I heard that right. Like, wait a minute. I thought I almost heard the opposite. Like, wait, what?
No, so it has been very underwhelming this year.
So we're seeing change into the guard. I said this before, and people didn't like me for it when Tua led the league in passing yards. There was no Tom Brady. There's no Peyton Manning. No Ben Roethlisberger. No Drew Brees. You have Aaron Rodgers, who's the shell of his former self. It's just we've got so spoiled for the last 20-plus years to see at least one elite quarterback and elite quarterbacks. You know, you had Peyton Manning in 98, Brady in 2000. You had Drew Brees, 2001. So, like, we've of course, he didn't become elite until, like, the Saints, right? But last year, the Chargers. But then we have Phillip Rivers, even mixed in. You have Ben Roethlisberger. So you had a quality play of quarterback, and now we're seeing it different. It's different play. This year, like, Josh Allen is probably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, right next to Pat Mahomes. But this year, I think he was trying to do too much, and I think it was just kind of getting away from what works. And I think he was trying. I think he tries to do too much, and I think it's what's really held them back in a sense. On the flip side, like, Mahomes has had an off year, but man, those seasons, those long seasons, are wearing on the Chiefs. The players are exhausted. They're tired.
They want to add another game. One day, we're gonna have 18 games, and we know.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, these guys, the Chiefs have played in the AFC Championship,
Greg?
There should be 18 games.
I know, but the problem is a lot of these teams are not built for 18 games.
No, they're gonna have to expand the roster. They have to. But, like,
you're gonna have to get like 60-man rosters. You have to expand the roster.
But the Chiefs, like, played in the AFC Championship and Super Bowl the last, like, how many years?
6.
So, like, they're worn down. So, like, like the play from them makes sense, and then the guys being injured. It's a little bit different league, and I think the teams are adjusting. But I still think it's just a level of quarterbacks aren't as good as what we're accustomed to with the elite greatness. But that was greatness. It's like, look at the running backs. We're seeing some elite running backs in Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Taylor, but they're not LaDainian Tomlinson, you know what I mean, or Adrian Peterson, but they're still elite, damn good running backs. And maybe they could be them and better than them, but it's just it's a changing of the guard in a sense. That's kind of how I see it.
Right?
It was one of those fluke years where you had a lot of your best quarterbacks hurt for a long time.
Burrow, Mahomes. Okay.
Burrow, Lamar, Mahomes, Daniels in Washington. I mean, don't forget he was a rookie, and they went to the NFC Championship game last year. Mm-hmm. All right. Then you had some other quarterbacks, in a way, take some steps back. Jordan Love wasn't as good this year.
Shoot, sorry. The offensive coordinator of the Eagles, they completely changed the system.
They were awful this year.
Yeah. So, like,
I mean, so there's a couple of different things going on within the league that basically change some things up. And if everybody stays healthy next year, I don't think
Patullo.
Huh?
No, Brett, if you're looking him up, it's Kevin Patullo.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Yep.
Sorry about that, Brett. Craig.
Yeah, no. So I just think this is one of those fluky years. We'll see. We'll see what happens. There's a very good possibility in my mind that one or two top 10-ish quarterbacks could be changing teams this year. And I'm wondering what that's going to do to the league as well. And you have some other, the Drake Mays, the Williams of the world and things like that are really playing well, that are going to be taking a next step too next year. Did you see, by the way, that the Bears have still never had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards?
Yeah,
That's just crazy.
that's insane. Tua did it. If Tua can do it, anyone can, guys. Tua
And
did it.
they played 17 games, so it's like they even got an
Yeah,
extra
they
game
played
and
the
still
extra
have
game, and they
Oh,
still
did you? By the way, did you see what's his name? Michael Strahan. When they announced, like, what are your thoughts on it? He goes, "Well, I did it in 16 games." And by the way, why is it that every time the guy gets the final sack, they turtle? Every time, Burrow
So
turtle.
I was telling my wife that she had made a mention, like, I wonder if Burrow went up to him, was like, "You're welcome." And then I
Yeah.
watched it, I was like, he really didn't have anywhere to go. But I think Joe Burrow kind of like knew the sack was coming. It was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I'll just give it to him, kind of thing. Like, I'm gonna get sacked anyway. I'm just gonna go down.
Joe Burrow should be practicing that all off season.
Yeah. But listen, he'll practice it all off season for this.
Yeah, I
But
would
no, like,
also.
that's the thing that when Greg bring that up about guys could be moving teams, and it makes me wonder. We talked about this before on our show, like in 2018, Lamar Jackson was still on the board, and Stephen Ross is just kind of like, why don't we get one of these quarterbacks? And the story was Mike Tannenbaum only wanted Josh Allen, and was it Adam Gase only wanted Baker Mayfield? And then like they couldn't agree on a quarterback, and at the pick, that they had, they end up nobody could make a decision on who they wanted to get after those guys were off the board. And I guess Stephen Ross had brought up Lamar Jackson, and they went with Minka Fitzpatrick. And then when Lamar Jackson on the board, like Ross had implored them, like, "Hey, maybe we should go after him?" But they're like, "Oh no, we got Tannehill, we're good." So it's like, would he be willing to still, how Ross is? He's willing to throw picks and money and all that. He'd probably be willing to take on some of Lamar Jackson's contract. And don't tell me these owners don't know how to maneuver the cap and all that. The owners are they're the ones who vote for
New
the
Orleans
cap.
has been doing it for 15 years.
Dude, the cap is just in place so the owners don't have to overpay players. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just in place so they don't have to overpay like a baseball. That's all.
Yeah.
So, like, if they want to maneuver it, they can. And if he wants to maneuver to get rid of Tua and get Lamar Jackson, I'm wondering if Ross wants to do that or gives the GM the okay to do that. Or does the GM want Joe Burrow, or does he want to go draft his own? I don't know. Both guys are still young enough to keep like winning with, but it's just a thought process.
No, but you know what I learned today? What I learned more about this season, especially in the AFC, is Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos do not win the AFC without Sean Payton.
Yeah.
And and Mike Vrabel, they took a chance. Jarrod Mayo, they realized after a year it's not working. Let's go get Mike Vrabel. So the whole point let's just talk about Mike McDaniel for a little bit, and then actually we'll talk about the GM and we'll talk about other stuff going on. For me, the whole Mike McDaniel narrative for me at this point is I think he'll be a good OC. I think he's just not a good head coach. And the problem I have is I see what happens when you bring in a good head coach to steer the ship. And that's what you saw. You took young quarterbacks and you brought in a head coach who knows how to win in this league, and it made the difference. Yes, you have other elements of your team, but it gives you respect. When people see Mike Vrabel, they respect your football team. When they see Bill Belichick, they respect your football team. When they see Sean Payton, they respect your football team. They see Andy Reid, they respect their football team. Even with the wins, even winning a Super Bowl, Philadelphia fans don't trust Nick Sirianni as far as they can throw him. People trust Sean McVay, right? There's people, I think at this point, if they have another bad year, people aren't going to enjoy Dan Campbell anymore. So there's a factor in actually bringing in respectable people on your sideline that you don't want to F with. And that's my problem with Mike McDaniel. When you see Mike McDaniel, you don't see that guy that I believe gives you that aura, that sense that don't F with me. My team is always going to be ready to play on Sunday. And I don't see that. And I saw that today. He was hiding behind other players. He was wearing his hat. He was wearing his sunglasses. He was constantly in the play call sheet. He was not prepared. He's not looking like a guy who wanted to have pride on the line today. He coached guys, and tell me if you disagree. He coached this game like it was week 3 or week 7. He didn't coach it like his job was on the line. He didn't. I don't care who the players are. He didn't look like a guy who had pride that we're going to go out there and do the best that we can. He, like, in the third quarter, that play, like, guys, I want to go back to it. That second and third down where he declined both penalties and they were literally destroyed at the line of scrimmage, he just gave up. The same thing with the hurry up. Like, he gave up. Like, and the guy, that's not urgency for me. And yes, you may not have the players to be able to do it, but at least you tried. At least you tried.
Yeah.
That's the problem in the mentality of this team. They look like they're doing just enough, but they're not willing to do the extra step. So when I look back on losing the draft picks, guys, I don't blame Stephen Ross for at least trying. Going to get Harbaugh, yeah, he might be a moron for doing what he did the way that he did it. You shouldn't get caught. But
yeah.
at least he tried to make the team better.
Well, he tried to get Peyton too.
Tried to get Deshaun. He tried to get Peyton. He tried to get Brady. He tried to get at least he tried. So what are your thoughts, guys? Like, that's my problem with McDaniel at this point, is the lack of the fact that I feel our team is a laughing stock. And I actually think it's, as much as it starts with Ross, every single Sunday on that sideline, there's a lack of respect of the Dolphins. You see Tua. You see the issues going on in the locker room. You see that people want to leave. Jalen Ramsey wanted off this team and all this and all that. I don't ever remember a time, even if he couldn't build the staff, I at least looked like the team was giving it their all under Brian Flores because they were terrified of him. I don't think the team gave a crap. What? Sorry?
No, I just laughed that you said they were terrified of him. Like, well, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Mike McDaniel, he's just you. If someone told you to pick out, guys, if someone told you to pick out on the sideline, you did not know who the head coach was, and you looked at the Dolphins sideline, you wouldn't know Mike McDaniel was the head coach. You know Vrabel's the head coach. You know Tomlin's the head coach. You know, even if we have issues with Dan Campbell, you know Dan Campbell's the head coach. You know Andy Reid's the head coach. Mike McDaniel does not look like the head coach on the sideline. He looks like one of the coaches on the sideline. And
Well,
that's my problem.
I don't know. I mean, Mike Shanahan he was a small guy too.
No,
I get your point.
But he got red. He got angry. He got mad. You don't see it. Even Shanahan gets annoyed. Like, that's my problem. Is right now at this point with this team, there's such a lack of respect. Like, we're a laughing stock. We're clowns, guys. We're clowns. And it starts with the biggest clown on the sideline. Greer's gone. Ross is an owner. He's millions of dollars. McDaniel's a clown. Brett, like, that's why I want him gone now. It's not more about maybe he could develop a quarterback. He looked today like he literally looked like a guy who felt like he had nothing to lose.
Oh, jeez.
There's 32 jobs in the NFL, and he looked like a guy who didn't care if he won or lost. He kept calling the same thing all season. He never adapted. He never found a different way to try things. The only reason he brought Tua out was I think he was forced upon him as well.
Well, I
think Ross even admitted after the Buffalo game that he was done with Tua. Like, even Ross was done with Tua.
I think McDaniel deserves some credit for how well Tua has played and how well the team
I understand that. Yeah.
has done. But overall, the team, the penalties, the sloppiness of the play, the mistakes, overall as a staff that he put together, the 3 defensive coordinators he's had, it's just like it's just a mess of a situation that it seems like I feel like he's going to need a fresh start from it. I think he could be successful as a head coach again, but right now, I think the biggest problem is he took a job that was a no-win situation. That he was any situation where like, oh, keep the coordinators here you hired offensive staff. You're going to keep everybody else and fix our quarterback. You're just asking for trouble. Like that's why nobody wanted the job. So I don't know that he's definitely not fully to blame. But there's a lot of issues that I had, like especially the penalties that this team has had. Joe Philbin and Brian Flores. People can say what they want about him, but the teams are way more disciplined than they are now. He's been better than Adam Gase. He's been better than Joe Philbin. But at the same time, like there's some downfalls, and the team doesn't look prepared enough. And while I think he's done a good job of scheming the most he can, I just think it's time to move on. And I think there's a lot of like shortcomings he has right now that it's like I think he's going to learn and succeed somewhere else with it. But I think it's time for Miami to cut bait with everybody, clean house, and start fresh. And I just don't think that like it's a good idea for McDaniel to stay because I think it's all that's going to happen is he's going to get fired next year anyway. And then the GM brings in their own guy. I mean, look what the Titans just did. They fired a guy at the 1 year. So you're pretty much, unless that's what they're planning to do, then it's like just keep McDaniel for a year and fire him next year. But I don't know what you gain from that.
Greg? Mute. You're on mute.
Vrabel stepped into a situation where he had a quarterback. Okay,
But he was not a great quarterback last year. Won 4 games. He was
But
he was a rookie. He was a rookie.
he was a rookie the year before, but he was a high draft pick. All right. How about Liam Cohen, the head coach for Jacksonville?
No one thought high of Lawrence.
Nobody thought high of Lawrence either, but he was an overall number 1 pick, and he comes in.
Tua was a number 5, guys.
Hey, I'm just saying. All right.
Well, Jaguars do have a pretty good team.
And they did it without Travis Hunter.
These new head coaches that are having success, it's because they have a quarterback. All right. McDaniel came in, had early success because he improved the quarterback. All right.
No, I disagree, guys. I don't think he actually improved Tua. Tua would not be the Tua he was without Tyreek. If McDaniel would not have lasted 4 years, if Tyreek did not get traded that first year. If Tyreek's not there in 22, Tua is not the quarterback that we're talking about for 22 and 23. No chance with Waddle. You really think that, Greg? You think he improved Tua if Tyreek is there or not there? Tyreek saved it. They saved Tua's keister.
Well, no, Tyreek's a really good player, and it helps to have him.
Explosive plays, guys.
Yeah, but he developed an offense that basically for two years basically hid Tua's flaws from the entire league.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing.
All right. I mean, somebody still had to deliver the ball. All right. Skylar Thompson couldn't, and there's a lot of other quarterbacks that probably couldn't either, right? So, I mean, look, I want McDaniel gone. I'd love to start all over again. Okay. I'd love to start with, the Jags situation. I'd love to be the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. I'd love to be the New England Patriots right now.
People are so high on the Giants right now. I don't know what they see in Jackson Dart that everyone thinks he'd be a great quarterback. He's okay. He's okay.
He's a rookie. He's a rookie who can make plays.
Yeah.
But he sees the field well,
Yeah.
and he understands. They just got to calm him down.
I know their biggest problem right now is actually. I think Joe Shane is not. I don't think Joe Shane is a great good general manager.
Well, yeah, I
They
mean,
need
he's
to fire him.
Guy. He's a Greer guy.
Well,
Yeah.
He was Greer's right-hand man for years.
Yeah.
He would have got fired along with the other two that got fired. Just say, yeah.
So the question becomes: is if you bring a guy in, does he really clean house, or is he going to force the next head coach to keep coaches? All right. Who is going to be the draft? Who's going to do the draft? Who's going to do the scouting? What the philosophy is? All right. The Lions.
We were asking this question, and then when the whole thing changed in 2019, no more asking who did what. We're going to be a lockstep. Oh, it was Flores. Get him out of here. No, McDaniel won the power. Yeah, it's like
But-
just
So that's my concern. So let's go into that. So finish your
Hold
point,
on.
and then I want to get
Yeah.
into that topic.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can kind of approach this from Miami's point of view, right? You can do the Bears situation. All right. You hired an outside consultant, Bill Polian. Bill Polian came in, picked the GM. The GM then picks the wrong quarterback. Then he gets a second chance to pick the right quarterback, and now they're the number 2 seed in the NFL, in the NFC, right? After basically 2 years. You could go the Lions route. Okay. The Lions, their GM and their head coach didn't know each other, never talked before basically they interviewed and hired Dan Campbell. Okay. They agreed on an approach. I don't think Dan Campbell's worth a shit, but all right,
You really don't have. You really have it out for him.
he's a moron. All right. That team should have been to 2 Super Bowls, and because he's a head coach and can't manage a game, he cost them 2
And
Super Bowls.
everybody wants him in Miami. I go, why?
Yeah.
I don't see the allure. I don't.
All right, he's an idiot. Okay. But they selected really good players, and they got really good players that basically carry them through the regular season. All right, by
Premium
beating
players.
bad teams. Okay, but anyway, so there's a lot of different ways to approach this. The way Miami has in the past has not been successful because their approach has sucked. So who are they going to mimic? That's my question for the entire offseason. Who are they going to mimic? Who are they going to what new GM who's never done the job before is going to come in? What new head coach potentially is going to come in who's never been a head coach before?
We don't know that. They may have been
All
a
right.
head coach before.
They're not going to hire no veteran head coaches coming here. None. All right. There's
If you
no
give him the power to do it, you might. So let me ask you guys. Let me ask you guys that question right now.
What coach who wants to maintain his legacy is coming to a division with Josh Allen and Drake May in it right now when you don't have a quarterback and you're in cap hell?
it's true.
Unless
they have full control.
You keep on saying cap hell. You guys keep on saying cap hell. But before they drafted Bo Nix 2 years ago, when they drafted the quarterback, they went to get the right head coach, and then for the last 2 years, they suffered through cap hell. They suffered through cap hell, and they don't have a star wide receiver. They have a good running game, a good defense, a good offensive line. They don't have superstars on that team. They have good players on that team. Outside of Surtain, there's no bona fide elite superstar in Denver. But they got the right quarterback in the mid-first round. They got the right head coach, and that made it work. I don't want to hear anything about cap hell. If you're the right talent evaluator and you draft the right players and you get the bridge quarterback, and then you draft a quarterback in the 27 draft, you don't know what could happen in this league because you don't know if Josh Allen could get injured. You don't know if Drew. Look at this year. Half the teams that are good this year are not as good as people think they are. A really bad team or not such a great team with a great quarterback like Rex Grossman level or Trent Dilfer level is going to make the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Not an average quarterback is going to make the. I don't think Caleb Williams is so hot shit, right? I don't think that Jalen Hurts right now is such a phenomenal quarterback. Like, there's a lot of elements in these quarterback plays that are not great, guys. There's going to be a team that is going to go in there and they're going to win because of their team, not because of their quarterback.
Well,
And it's going to be, and this is the exception of all exception years in which that's going to happen.
Well, here's the thing with that.
All right. And Dan Campbell with Jared Goff and being a complete moron should be in the playoffs this year because this would be the only chance he would ever have.
Well, so on that topic, you said that, Evan, you're saying that like the Broncos were able to get out of cap hell, and they did.
No, they were in cap hell this year, and they did
but
it.
they were still able to turn it around. And you're right. And I said, like, it's frustrating watching the Broncos leapfrog us, watching the Patriots leapfrog us, watching the Bears. And I said the Bears drafted a quarterback at 17. They drafted one at 21. They drafted one last year. They we missed. We get another, keep going. The Patriots, we missed, got another one, but they got their coach, right? So it's frustrating watching that. But what these teams did too, they got the right guys in the front office too. And what Denver did, they got Sean Payton. Sean Payton's in charge of that front office, just like he was in New Orleans. He gets the say of who they're drafting and all that stuff. It's not like, oh, well, no, Sean Payton, he's just like Jim Harbaugh, where Jim Harbaugh, the GM they got down there or over there in LA, is from the Ravens, somebody he's familiar with. So it's going to be one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm going to get the guys I want kind of thing. You know what I'm looking for. So that's the biggest thing. Like, so Sean Payton did that. So Miami can turn that around quick. I've always said that you don't have to do anything crazy to turn a team around, but you have to draft well. If you guys remember, the Bills turnaround was not that long. In 2019, they were a playoff team. In 2018, I think they're a playoff team too, but they turned it around because, one, they got their quarterback, but they actually drafted well too. And if you look, like, linebackers, they could lose a linebacker. Someone else paid them to get somebody else. And every time a linebacker gets hurt, all of a sudden Buffalo's under the linebacker. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because they always draft well, and they maintain, and then they move on from that guy, draft somebody else. And they've done a really good job that way. Now they need to fix some other things, but the teams who draft well do fix their teams and flip it around quick. The Eagles flip their everything around quick with going after Chip Kelly. Like, because Chip Kelly took over, Howie Roseman was like, all right, I'll take a step back. You go ahead, run it to the ground. You're an idiot. Oh, look, everybody knows you're an idiot. Get out of here. He took back over, flipped it around. They won a Super Bowl a couple years later. So it can flip around. You just have to have the right people in charge. And Denver, I just wanted to bring up, not to take away from your point, but they got the right guy to do it. Can Miami find the right guy? And that's what we don't know. But yeah, it's like, to both everybody's point is, will Miami be able to flip it around? Yeah, with the right people and drafting well. But will they get the right people? It's Stephen Ross. I don't know.
Well, let's bring that up, you guys. Okay,
and like, with Aikman aside, like, Stephen Ross has not hired a hiring agency like other teams have. So I don't know.
But let's think about this, and let's talk about it, because I know you and I have been going off on it. You, me, and Greg. If we announced today that they were starting the GM search, the one thing I will give them credit for, and then I'll get your both opinions on it live on air. On January 1st, on a slow news day, they dropped the nugget because they knew they'd be the biggest story in the NFL. That you took somebody who ripped the Dolphins, who's been involved, actually, he's been involved with the Dolphins discussions since Halloween. And then on Monday Night Football, ripped the Dolphins. Tore them to shreds. And then Tua got benched. If you don't think that I don't care what they do, as long as there's somebody in that room that is not on the Miami Dolphins staff now, I don't care who it is. If they would have brought in Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, I don't want to hear that. Oh, the Falcons are going to bring in Matt Ryan. I don't care. I don't want anyone associated with it within 1 yard of this team, because everybody who's ever been involved with this team, for me, has the stench of losing, the stench of mediocrity. So if somebody who's willing to, I don't care what his experience is as being a general manager, a talent debater, I don't give a crap. If somebody is willing to rip my team on NFL football on live television, gets the quarterback we wanted benched, and was willing to rip this team and do what he has to do, and they're still willing to keep him around, because if Stephen Ross is so loyal to the everybody on this team, then the fact is that reputable reporters have said that Troy Aikman was in discussion of being a consultant going back to Halloween, then the guy was ripping the team post. So and Stephen Ross could have basically said, "I don't want you involved. Why are you ripping my team?" But this never would have come out. The fact that the Dolphins dropped what they did when they did, maybe they're trying to do something. Is it the right move? Who knows? I don't care. At least they're doing something different. If they would have announced that it was Brandon Shore and Todd Garfinkel and Stephen Ross and Daniel Silman, and that was their only committee, then I'd have a big problem. The fact that there's at least somebody else there, for me, is okay in my mind. You guys?
Well,
Whoever wants to go first.
Greg,
Go, because I know you haven't been.
I know Greg.
No,
Greg,
go ahead.
go.
Go ahead,
Greg,
Brett.
go.
Oh, well, all right. So, like, I'm on the fence. Like, the one thing I'll say about Troy Aikman is he's not a guy that accepts mediocrity. He's not a guy. He does call it out. I know, like, when you hear him talk on Monday Night Football, sometimes he's like passive, sometimes he's not, but he is pretty blunt sometimes with teams when they're not playing well and stuff. Like, he was pretty hard on like the Dolphins with like, I don't get why they're not hurrying up. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what they're doing. Whether it was right or wrong, with McDaniel's fault, Tua's fault, doesn't matter. It's just that he was calling it out. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And he did, like, if you go back and watch like some of the stuff when after Jimmy Johnson left, and he was like calling stuff where he was like calling the stuff out and telling Switzer, like, you know, you got to get on them. Like, they're not doing their job. Like, this isn't my job to do it. And he's like holding guys accountable and stuff. And the reason I bring that up is he knows what it takes to win, right? I mean, he knows you have to put the work in. You have to look for those guys. And I don't know if he has the connections or not. I mean, you would think he does. Then I look back, like, well, Marino was in media, obviously played in the NFL for years, one of the greats.
He wants no involvement in this team.
Right. So, like, yeah, so it's like,
he doesn't care.
Why couldn't he do it before? But maybe maybe he's just a figurehead that brings like sales and stuff, and just gets paid to do it. Fine, whatever. But like, I'm not saying it can't work. I think it can work, but I think it's definitely different than what Ross has done. But I don't know that I trust the rest of the people either, because you have a lot of voice in there. You got Ross's son-in-law, who is a very smart marketing kid. He's done a lot with soccer and stuff. Tom Garfinkel, who is a baseball guy. He's a marketing guy. He needs to stay far away from the football operations. I think him and Greer were supposed to be close and all that. He needs to stay away from football operations. And then who else? Oh, Brandon Shore, which I don't know that Brandon Shore, I don't know if he's a problem or not, but the cap situation's rough. Like,
but he didn't want to do Tua, by the way. There's reports that he did not want to do Tua. He told them it was all a bad idea.
So, all right, well, maybe he had to do it.
He was overridden. He was overridden by
Ross
Ross and Greer.
But it still feels like more hodgepodging and try to keep certain people and not do a bunch of. Like, it feels like we're not doing clean slate, and it's. But my hope is, this is what I hope for Aikman. I hope Aikman's like, no, if you want to find a good GM for the guys I'm talking to, you need a clean house and you need to do it now and get rid of everybody and start fresh. So maybe them doing interviews, like they said, they started interviews already. Maybe that happened. Maybe they're like, hey, yeah, like, oh yeah, I want to bring my own coach in. Maybe tomorrow we'll get news that McDaniel will get fired because everybody they've talked to has showed interest. Like, yeah, if I can bring my own coach. So right. I think there's some hope with Aikman being advisor. And there was rumor, I think Josh Wingate said it, that he was trying to be a GM and was talking to people about being a GM years ago. And he thinks the window's passed. Like, it's too late for him now. But at one point he was trying. So I don't know if he has the connections to who in the front office. But we do know he talks to teams every year, every week, with different people and stuff like that. So apparently he's very involved in the league beyond just what he does on broadcasting. So I don't know, but we'll see. It's not something that we've seen a lot of. So does it work? Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it, but
Chris Collinsworth didn't win crap in the NFL.
I know. I'm just saying, like, I
and he's not a quarterback guy.
Get the point.
Tony Romo, Kurt Warren. Let's just, let's bring in every has-been quarterback that's a Hall of Famer and basically has no experience building a front office and basically calling, he knows the janitor in a room, so he's got contacts. Let's bring him in because he's going to be influential in providing, advice on who to
He
hire.
ripped your team. Greg, he ripped our team. He ripped our team on public
No,
television. He had the job.
the reason you like it is because he ripped McDaniel live on Monday Night Football.
And Tua.
If you would have praised McDaniel, you would absolutely hate this move.
Because,
Right.
because
right.
by the way, Greg,
He's trashed the Dolphins.
Greg,
He's
Greg, I've been complaining about Mike McDaniel for 4 years. In the end, was I right or was I wrong? That he's not the right head coach for this football team in the window that we're in.
No, I wanted him gone for a year and a half.
I wanted him gone for 4.
But look, I have no issue bringing in outside help.
Yeah.
I have none. Okay. You want to bring in a consultant to find a particular person for your organization from within the industry, from within the NFL. I have no problem with that. I just want people with track records who have done this before. That's all I want.
Yeah.
All right. If you give me 60 seconds here, all right.
Yeah, because then we're going to welcome my
Right.
boyfriend Sammy. We're gonna give us a break. Sammy, we've gone 2 hours because I want it to. I can go forever because I want you on the show, and I'm waiting for Bobby. So let's go. Keep going. Let's go. Finish your thoughts there.
Now, Greg, it's 90 seconds because you interrupted. Please go.
Now, all right. In my personal life, in my professional life, okay, I am an outside consultant. People hire my company with me to basically give them advice, and I'm a subject matter expert. All right. And I'm going to say it on this air. I don't give two shits. All right. I'm the best in the goddamn country at what I do. Okay. People spend millions of dollars at my company for me to be involved with them. I'm published. I'm in articles. I speak at conferences as a subject matter expert. Okay. I have a list as long as my arm of customers that are pleased with me. I've basically designed things for them about $1 billion worth in my career. Okay.
And I've worked on stuff he's designed, by the way.
And he has. Okay. All right. I work within a distribution center. Okay. But I couldn't build you a distribution center because that's not my area of expertise. All right. You have to, if you were going to have an executive search firm to look for a CEO of your company, all right, you hire people with executive search firm experience to find these people. All right. If you're hiring an engineer, you hire different people to find those people. That's all I'm saying here. Is Troy Aikman, you asked Troy Aikman, what GM have you placed or made a recommendation to within the NFL? The answer would be 0. How many teams have you worked on with to find potential candidates for GMs for their teams? The answer is 0. We've spent the last how many years talking about Miami needs an experienced head coach and an experienced GM. All right. No more first timers, no more of this or that. Yet we hire somebody who's never searched for a GM before to be the key cog in searching for the GM for our team. It makes no damn sense. And DSG is 100% correct. All right. Hire Chris Collinsworth. He's got contacts, I'm sure. Tony Romo, Kurt Warner, name all of these guys. All right. Just hire. Who cares? Okay. You want contacts within the NFL from outside the organization? There's a shit ton of them that you can do. Or you could go the other route and basically use the same people who are finding GMs for other teams, like the Chicago Bears, when they find, Pace, and hire Bill Polian as a consultant. All right, there's an idea.
Boy, do you want Mike Tannenbaum like the Jets did? That was a great idea, guys. Former general manager, Mike Tannenbaum. That worked out well.
And he went to 2 AFC championship games while he was there.
He
must have done something right.
And the Senior Bowl, people spoke very, very highly of Mike Tannenbaum.
I'm just joking around because in Dolphins lore, he's not very well liked, right?
I get what you mean. We'll just hire Jeff Ireland.
I am fine going outside the organization. Please, God, go outside the organization. All right. But Troy Aikman, you got to be kidding me.
Okay,
right.
we know where you're at. Sammy,
You're
welcome to
kidding
the
me.
show. I hope everything went well on Finn's Faithful. I saw you guys had a wonderful paddle with Curtis and you and Jason. I can't remember the other gentleman's name, but how are you doing?
All the viewers were there back with me. So
Okay, wonderful.
You're gonna
So
see it.
welcome, Sammy. How was your day? How did you enjoy the football game? Your prediction was pretty spot on the money.
Missed by one touchdown.
One touchdown.
And
What
the
did you
Dolphins
think of the
lost, of course.
game? What did you think of the game? How it looked? Everything. McDaniel, Ewers, the defense quitting, the defense looking completely like they didn't give a crap. The Dolphins having not scoring a point since Halloween in the third quarter. The fact that the breaking news from Joe Shad the moron is that Jake Bailey had the greatest punting average in Dolphins history, and that Riley Peterson had the biggest field goal percentage in history. Mike McDaniel talking about schematic nonsense about why we don't do well in the third quarter. Take the time, all the time you want, talking about this crap show that took place in Foxborough today.
I'm gonna be brief because basically what we talk about on the pregame show came about. I expect that not to be close. I expect that for the defense basically to quit in the second half. That also happened, and the Dolphins already made a decision about the game before the game. They sat Waddle, they sat Asian, which was the right decision. With the inactives, that basically almost half of the starting lineup for the Dolphins was basically inactive for the game, so you cannot expect anything more than that. The wide receiver core is atrocious. You can see that the Dolphins had no wide receiver playing. That everybody was covered. I think Ewers, you cannot spell Ewers without Ewers, but he did kind of good considering all the hit that he had. So it's the last game of the season. They kind of put on the fight. They went on fourth down twice. I think they missed both times. I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the game. I think Mike McDaniel's fate is not going to be decided by that game. If he stayed, if he goes, I don't think that has nothing to do with it. So that game was basically irrelevant. Of course, the Patriots were playing for seeding, and the Broncos already started the game on a lead. So they had basically had that wrap up. So it was an unsequential game. No one was hurt. I think Edwards was hurt in the last series of the game, but no huge injuries. So it was really an unconsequential game. So that's the good news. If season is over, I'll wait and see.
Thank God. I'm just kidding.
But Sammy, I just want to get your point because I asked. This was the one thing that bothered me in the game, even though when you were through the interception, it's a rookie mistake. But what I've seen with the Dolphins this year is the defense gets mad and they basically stomp their feet. I'm having a tantrum. Once again, the offense does something stupid. And because I said this to Greg and Brett, and I said it to Dahl before, and I said it to Steve Malloy, is that if you look at every time this season, the Dolphins have a bad turnover, or coming out of the second half, they score points. Then they gave 28 seconds left. They let the Patriots get a couple points, and they get the ball in the half. They don't score, and then things fall apart. The defense, I think, gets mad at the offense, has a tantrum on the sideline, and they quit. Do you feel that the team, because we all talked about the last couple of weeks, Sammy, that the team didn't quit on Mike McDaniel? I think today the team quit. The Dolphins, yes, it's a talent on the team, but I think the defense, which had most of their players, quit. And I think even Mike McDaniel quit because on that, there was a couple of plays where the media went, but everyone went nuts on Twitter. When they declined the 2 penalties and they went from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 20 to 3rd and 20 something, where they were illegal shifts, penalties galore. Like that was a complete and utter shit show. So do you feel the Dolphins quit today? Or the defense didn't give a crap? What do you think happened today?
Those are the kind of things that make you think Mike McDaniel already knows he's coming back, right? Because the franchise quit, right? Just before the game, you already knew. We talked about it in the pregame. That franchise already going to the game, you knew they were not going to win that game. They would take, without A-Chain, without Waddle, yeah, there was no chance. So I think if you ask me, the franchise quit before the game. So again, the good news is nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt. They were not going to.
Oh, Ewers actually got hurt, but they're one.
Yeah, because hurt, but it's not going to be like it's not a torn ACL. So it's not a huge injury. So it's the off season. Now we have to wait and see. There's nothing really consequential happen. So that's a good news.
Breaking news: 2 hours and 22 minutes in the show. This guy owes me his ring. because I kept this show going. We could still go for a while. I'm going to go forever. But Bobby Finn's talk, you could bring yourself in. Number one, congratulations on winning the Fins TV Pick'em. But at the same time, you are quite late, my friend. 2 hours and 21 minutes. This is nothing for Brett and Greg and me. But at the same time, boy, were you tardy. And thankfully, I can still go for a while. But I'm going to let you take over the show for a little bit. I will shut my mouth so people get some peace and quiet. And you get to go on what kind of crap show we saw today. So welcome, Bobby. Congratulations, Mazel Tov, on winning. I know you were nervous today. I'm sure you did a couple Hail Marys while you were in church. But congratulations on winning your draft. And what were your thoughts on the crap show that went today?
Oh, man. Luckily enough, I only caught the first half.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So I had to go. I was following, every time we had a break, not a break. There was never really a break. But every time, I didn't have to do something, I was like, I would kind of pull on my phone and I started going like this. And then I would go to Finn's TV, pick them, and I go, okay, good, okay. And all right, and I'd go back and,
all you have. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but all you have to do is go to the part where it tells you what the others picked, and you'll have the same picks. So you already do have the back.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. I ended up at the end. Everybody had the same picks. At that point, I was like, okay, I think I'm golden. Until I got the official tweet, I was like, I think I'm golden. And everybody else I was like, woo! I'm gonna be styling and profiling with that ring, boy. But listen. Expectations. I think it was pretty close in regards of what Sammy had predicted and what I had predicted. I think I had Miami with it was 34-13, so it ended up being 38-10. I didn't expect much at all, anything from the Miami Dolphins. This was to me just a glorified preseason game. I would have liked to see what even though I didn't expect them to score a lot, at least a fight, out of the team. It didn't look like that at all, at least from what I saw and what I went back to see after church. So I didn't really have any high expectations. Now it's just about what's next. I think that's what it is. This to me was just an audition for other players, on the team. And also, what can Mike McDaniel do with less, with, no expectation? Like, hey, are you going to put up a fight against a team like the Patriots, which the Patriots were playing for something? They didn't. How much that's held against them, we'll see. I hope Stephen Ross is looking across the league and he sees what's happening in Atlanta right now, that they got rid of the GM and the head coach after 2 seasons. What could possibly go down with the Las Vegas Raiders. I talked about it earlier in today when we did on pregame, and I said again, if McDaniel is brought back which I think no decision really prior to this show, I really don't think any decision was really made other than we're going to wait until the GM is here and then we'll go from there. My preference would be coach is fired, fresh faces, new places, great. But if McDaniel is brought back with a new GM, with new player personnel in that department, I could live with it. Today is what it is. I mean, you look at the roster, you look at who was playing, and you're like, yeah, okay. I mean, what did we expect? I can't really judge I could judge the whole season of the Miami Dolphins, not this game, on what's going to happen next. This whole season has been today's game, a big cluster, So yeah, not much to say about this game. I don't think I usually don't miss games, but since I had to go do some things in the second half, and I get to watch it, but I did follow it, but I didn't have high expectations, Evan. So not much to talk about other than we all wait for what's next.
So we can ask the question I asked a little while ago. When you saw, I'll only ask you this question about the game specifically. When you saw Quinn Ewers throw that, you were probably not watching it yet, but then when he threw that poor interception, and just FYI, I don't know if you know the stat, Bobby, the Dolphins have not scored a point in the third quarter since before Halloween. Okay. Before Halloween. So when you saw Quinn Ewers, he threw a poor interception, his mistake, it happens. The Dolphins, they literally from there, you knew the game was over. Brett, I texted you and Greg, and I said, game is over when he threw that interception. The defense is going to quit. The defense quit. They went right down the field, and they looked awful. And then you see Mike McDaniel with those plays. You'll go back, Bobby, if you watch it, where they went from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 15. They took bad penalties. He declined both. We were taking these screens behind the play. We couldn't get past the line of scrimmage, and he was making penalties and all. And they looked like the McDaniel like quit the game, not quit the team, but quit the game. And the Dolphins didn't even put up a fight at one point. Like, okay, we're just not good today. We're just not going to be good today. When you see that, is it like how does Stephen Ross, how does somebody look at this and say, this is our team? Like yes, whoever's on the team here, like I understand the talent's maybe not there, but just because a player makes a mistake, there's 52 people else on the roster. Wake up and fight. Show something. Zach Sealer's blocking field goals. What is my team doing here with this nonsense? Like, why? How does the team continually do this in the second half? There's a stat. They outscored all the teams in the first half. They'll have the worst. They're the worst team in the second. They're a good team in the first half, awful team in the second. That's what bothered me more about the game, more than the score, was just the inability of a team just to quit on themselves.
I think that's absolutely fair. Like I said, this game it's just what the Dolphin season has been. When I brought that up, but you're absolutely right. Again, there was no expectations going into this game. Nobody picked the Dolphins to win this game. Anybody that did, fair enough, was being a homer. No problem with that, brother. You can be a homer all you want. I'm down with it. But anybody else who picked the Dolphins, hardly anybody picked Miami to win this football game. But here's an expectation, and I think that goes for every one of us. We expect you to fight. We expect you to do something, even if it's not working. And we know, hey, man, anything they threw at them, guys, right? Everything they threw at the Patriots just was not working. They were trying. They did different things, blah, 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 blah. It just wasn't working. That's different. That's understandable. It's just, hey, Patriots are a better team. Obviously, we all know that. But it wasn't that. They quit. They were done. They didn't put up a fight. And that is something you can hold. I know people are, but we didn't have this guy. We didn't have that guy. I understand that. But what you can hold against your head coach, who may be or may not have his job on the line, is your team coming to play? Is your team fighting for a victory against a bigger foe? Can they shock the world? This team didn't look like they were playing it safe up to a point. It's like, okay, now it's over. And I will tell you, before the interception, I liked what I saw from Quinn Ewers. Again, I think he as a solid backup, potentially has a chance to compete for the starting job next year after a full offseason as probably a starter. I wouldn't mind going to the next season with that situation. But no, the biggest thing on Mike McDaniel today was that the team did not fight. They didn't show enough fight against this team, which I wasn't expecting to win, but I expect to fight. They didn't do it. Sammy?
Going back on Ewers, didn't that interception look like a lot like one of those two interceptions? Like he's throwing at the defensive back, like someone's supposed to be there and it's not there. Because that was kind of curious. We talked about it before. Like I was telling about it, that the franchise had already quit before the game. If you ask me, they went into the game basically throwing the game out. When you saw the inactives, when you saw basically the bench half of the offense, and the guys that played, like going what you said, they didn't look organized at times. They did not look like they were playing hard. The defense did what they did every single loss this season. They basically fall in the second half, and it's a pattern. Once twice, okay, now it's a pattern that they quit. And I said, Anthony Weaver, I think is going to be a much better head coach than the defensive coordinator because that defense quits every single time. They get frustrated by the way the offense plays, and they say, "Screw it, we're out of here." Like that Homer Simpson, "Screw that, I'm out of here." The brain goes out, and the defense basically checks out of the game when they think they had no chance.
Yeah, because Brett, I want to ask you this question because you and I have talked about it a lot. Remember, you always like Josh Boyer just got a bad rap, or certain defensive coordinators got bad raps. I remember times watching those games back, guys, Brett, Bobby, Greg, and Sammy, and you saw the defense. The defense literally was saving Tuas Keister in 2019, 2020, and 2020, especially when he was the quarterback with Florida. And I could see the defense, they would fight, but then going, why are we fighting? They hated Tua for it. How bad are you that I need to How bad are you that I keep on saving your ass? Get out of my face. And Tua's bad performance was what cost Flores his job. So for me, that's what it was. I feel like the defense, the players individually are sick of this. The people might say, oh, we want Mike McDaniel around. They like him. They fight for him. The defense isn't fighting for Mike McDaniel. The defense couldn't give a crap if Mike McDaniel's there or not. They don't want Weaver. They don't want anything. They're playing for themselves. They're playing for contracts.
Yeah.
They're playing for next season.
Well, like I said, like after the first half, they were out of contention to be in the 20th place for scoring defense. So
they fall well behind that tonight.
Yeah, so
24th in the end. They went from 21st to 24th.
Yeah, you kind of saw Chubb just kind of throttle back, like, all right, whatever. I'm not getting my bonus anyway.
Sorry.
But like Boyer, he kept getting a bad rap, just like Fangio got a bad rap. And I don't know how many times I had to tell people, if you gave Fangio this defense, I bet you'd be a lot different. If you gave Boyer this defense, I bet you'd be a lot different. Like I'm not. The talent needs to be better on this defense. It really does, especially at pass rush. But if you look back with Boyer, he didn't have that great of pass rushers, and but he was able to blitz. And Phillips was a lot better under those guys because he was able to get schemed home, like I said, which you see in Philly, he's not able to finish because that's just Phillips. He's a good pass rusher, but he's not an elite level pass rusher. But that's the problem. Talent's been the problem, and Boyer was a good DC. He did fine. I mean, look how many like injuries they had in the playoff game against the Bills, and his defense still had a fumble return for a touchdown. It's still like stepped up in the playoff game. And then look at like with Fangio, how good the defense was. They did their jobs. The defense was more than good enough. The scoring defense had done what they could do. And Fangio tried to tell them from the beginning that talent is a problem. Linebackers awful, corners awful. But apparently he hated Cam Smith, who got cut after or under Weaver now. So it's like the thing is like we've had good coaches, good defense coordinators, but the talent hasn't been there. And the talent now it's about the same as it's been. Weaver's not quite as good as a defense coordinator, but he's never had a good defense. Even when he was with the Texans, he's never had a good defense. So it's. A lot of players have said that his system is confusing. They don't understand it. It doesn't make sense, which I texted you guys earlier. Maybe that's why Willie Gay doesn't play because he doesn't understand the defense and Dodson does. But like,
never understood the offense. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't understand why like certain players don't play. Like our better like linebacker Willie Gay is not on the field, but Dodson is, who's a special teamer. But whatever. But end of the day, though, I really just hope it all gets fixed. Like I told you earlier in the show, it's the mentality of the team. It's the mentality of the players that they add. And the guys who do have that mentality eventually get burned out. We saw that with Tyreek last year. Tyreek is not a guy who's just like, I don't know how to win. He knows how to win. He's a talented guy. It's just after it's like no one else is to that point. He's just like, I'm out. So it's what it comes down to. And at the end of the day, until they fix their evaluation issues, we're just going to be here every couple of years talking about why can't we be a good team and see the graphic that we won one division title along with the Jets since the realignment in 2002. Thanks a lot, Wayne Huizinga. Rest in peace. We could have been in the AFC South, but whatever. And we won one title since 2002. And the Patriots won 17. The Bills have won. I forgot how many they won. It's just embarrassing. And a buddy of mine didn't even realize that we were in middle school together. I was just texting him earlier. He didn't realize that we were in middle school together the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game.
Unbelievable. Greg, and then I have a few questions for Bobby and Sammy that I didn't have a chance to ask. So, Greg, what are your thoughts on the fact that this team, the offense was supposed to be the focal point, and in the end, every year we come back, even if the defense is not great, the defense looks like they're freaking trying to save the keisters of the offense.
I just think that the defense, if we look at the season as a whole, the biggest concern I had was the defense. And the defense basically played the way I thought they would play the entire year. All right, when it's all said and done, the good games that they had were basically against backup quarterbacks and rookie quarterbacks. They had one good game against Josh Allen, And actually, it wasn't that good a game statistically. They just created turnovers.
Yeah.
All right. So the defense, I anticipated the defense being, especially in the secondary, being bad. They were. I am a little disappointed in the front seven. I thought the front seven would be better, a little bit better, but it is what it is. On offense, we've seen Tua regress. He regressed faster and deeper than what we probably thought. But I mean, at the end of the day, your record is what your record is. It's a 7-10 record.
Yeah.
All right. And a lot of us at the beginning of the year, basically we're saying 7-10, 8-9, somewhere in that
I
range.
said 7-10.
Yeah. I mean, there's ups and downs in every season. The season's no different, but it's really not that unexpected for me. I don't know what else to say. And then, like I said earlier in the show on today's game, I mean, Miami put a bunch of players on the field that probably shouldn't be in the league, and there definitely shouldn't even be starting. Right?
Oh, so that leads into the next question I had for Bobby and Sammy. So.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not surprising that they got blown out. They were playing a team on the road that was trying to get to the number one seed in the conference, and Miami was playing a bunch of, in college vernacular, a bunch of D2 guys.
Yeah.
So,
it feels like they were just trying to evaluate something. Honestly, just that, or
they learned a lot about Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, I mean, Quinn Ewers did. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if that was Tua, the Tuaneers would have been paying for a banner to fire McDaniel. They would have been down there with pitchforks, and they'd have been angry if that was Tua's. Oh, they would have had every excuse in the book. Look who he's throwing to, this and that. But
Tua got sacked 100 times today. Milton Williams would have ate him for lunch.
And the thing is, people say, well, what does it matter? Ewers was a 7th-round pick. He's an NFL player. It was his third start. And third start, and imagine if that was week 3. I don't expect anything for Quinn Ewers. I don't expect him to be a future star. If he is, cool. If he's a quality backup, great. He's a 7th-round pick. Oh, look, he didn't work out. Shoo. We'll move on. No disrespect to the guy, but it's a 7th-round pick. You're not stuck with the guy. So it's like, whatever. You saw what you got 3 games out of him, and you had a tough game against the Bengals. He turned around, come back, and had a good game against the Buccaneers, and then had a good first half against the Patriots and an awful second half. So whatever, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So it's this, but his team is not. It's not built well. It's terribly constructed. It's just hodgepodge. It makes zero sense. If you really break down the roster and how it's made up, it makes zero sense. You got linebackers that would be good in the zone defense. You got corners that would be good in the man. You got no pass rushers. You have an offensive line that's made up of guys who are just whatever. You got running backs who are just jags at best. You got a quarterback who's maybe developed something out of them. I don't know. Tight end situation. It's just, I guess we hate tight ends. I guess they don't matter to the people who
Greg Dulcich, bring it back. 1A.
The wide receivers are just, they're fast and shifty, and that's it. Though it's like, what are we trying to do? If you look at our team, it makes zero sense of what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. So Bobby and Sammy, 2 topics. First one, because Duke asked a great question at the beginning of the game, which I know is going to lead into your topic for your show tomorrow, Bobby. Who are you focusing who's your number one focus position-wise in the draft after you saw what you saw today? 2, how disappointed are you, both of you, in Ollie Gordon's performance this season and Jalen Wright's performance today? The running game was absolutely atrocious without Achane. So give me your focus on that. And then both of you, I want you guys we had a segment talking about the schedule, so I also want to go over the schedule with you guys and go over what you guys think of it. But if you guys want to start, Sammy, Bobby, you said who wants to go first. Thoughts on the running game today, and what are your focus now based on what you saw today on development-wise? Where are you keying your eye on? What's your first gut feeling of what they need to draft to get this team to be better in the first round this year?
Which one would you want me to go first then?
Go draft. Go draft, you and Sammy, then go running game.
So in regards of the draft, first off, I want to shout out everybody in the comments. I think I see Steve Hallett in there. So
Oh, he was great on Twitter today. Steve,
awesome
you
to
were
see you,
phenomenal
brother.
on X today. I love
Steve
Steve
of
on
Fince
X.
TV. Appreciate him. And Shari, awesome. Great to see him. DSG, as always good to see. Duke in the
He
house.
wants me to buy the HN jersey so badly. It's insane.
Man of 1,005 holds. Pretty cool. Great to see you, Nate. Thank you. Says McDummy has to go. B McD, Craig. I got game AJ. Oh, a lot of good people up in there. Appreciate you guys all tuning in right now. Shout out. Hit that subscription button if you haven't already. We're going on. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes live on the FinSop postgame show. Finstanza, Brett, Greg.
Like an hour. It feels like 10 minutes.
Yeah. In regards to the draft, first of all, I know a lot of people were like, man, I hope we get 8. Oh, man, we got 12. We got 11. Officially, it's 11th pick. It's the 11th overall pick. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care if we got from top 5 to top 10, top 15. Doesn't matter. You go BPA. And you look at it, what type, corner, which receiver might be there, because I think other than punter or kicker, any position, if it's the best player available, is sitting there and you can get that position and that's going to make a change. If Ruben Bain is sitting there at 11 and he somehow falls past top 10 and you can get him, you go get him. Because guess what? Bradley Chubb might not be here after this offseason. Chop Robinson had a bad sophomore year. You go get him, you pair those two together, you have yourself a field day with a guy who could be a difference maker on defense. McCoy out of Tennessee, the corner, possibly safety, wide receiver. If somehow, some way, Carnell Tate is sitting there at 11, Tyreek Hill more than likely is going to be gone. Jalen Waddle has fallen off the cliff. You can't rely on him. Receiver is a desperate need. If Carnell Tate's sitting there from Ohio State, and obviously Brett, hi Brett, how's Ohio doing?
Jordan
how's Ohio
Tyson,
State, brother?
I don't know. Ask Ryan Day, the fake tough guy.
I've been waiting all week, brother.
I cannot stand Ryan Day and his nonsense.
You hated him last year, and he won a national championship.
I still hated him afterwards because he's such a horrible coach. Don't get me started on Matt Patricia. God, that guy just. You know what? I got a guy who's really good pass rusher. I'm going to put him in man coverage, and I got a guy who's really good at coverage. I'm going to make him pass rusher. Genius. What does that mean?
But right now,
like Greg.
right now, as it sits, to me, it's always BPA. Do not reach. You let the draft fall to you. Someone good's going to fall. You would hope that Dante Moore goes ahead and declares for the draft. So that way, if 1 and 2 is Mendoza, who, again, I like Mendoza. Still, there's a lot of work to do. I do say, again, not just what he could do on the field, not just the way he played against Alabama, not what he's done this season. But obviously from Miami, Cuban, all this, it fits well with Miami. But more likely he's going number 1 to Vegas. Great for the Raiders. He goes to the Raiders with Ashton Genty and so forth with Brock Bowers. That's great for him. Dante Moore goes to the Jets. Okay, fine. That's going to push guys down the board. And then Miami could sit there at 11, sitting pretty, and let the best guy fall. And I really mean that. I mean, I don't, there's no position I will hear that there's no way. We don't need that. No, we do need that. We should grab that guy. If that guy could be a difference maker for this football team, if there's somehow someone, an elite player who shouldn't be there and he's there at 11, you go get him. That's how I feel right now. In regard to the running situation, first of all, again, over just this game, Quinn Ewers, the running backs, the whatever. Again, I did not expect much. Do not hold this game against Quinn Ewers whatsoever. I don't think anybody should sit. If Quinn Ewers would have blew it up today, touchdown with Theo Reese and Malik Washington, and he would have crazy with Ollie Gordon, then we all that's the future right there, man. Look what he was able to do to a Patriots defense with little to no weapons, because all his main weapons are gone. We would have been ecstatic for that, but he didn't have those guys. And that he played as expected with no guys against a elite football team the way they're playing right now. So I am not on the boat of, he's not good. He's not the future. He's not that. I don't think that's the right thing to judge. He's too, the way he played the first 2 weeks to what he did right now with the whole team play like ass. It's the team. We'll see how he does in the preseason. I think he earned himself an opportunity to compete for the starting job, unless they get a quarterback early in round 1 or they trade a guy who's obviously way better. Till then, I'm not worried about Quinn Ewers. I'm not going to decide on his fate from this game from the crappy ass Dolphins. Ollie Gordon and Jalen Wright. this was their opportunity, especially Jalen Wright. A lot of noise. Where was Jalen White? Where is he? What has he done? What is this one? He has an opportunity today as the main contributor as running back, and he had some nice moves. There were some nice moves, that you saw. Like, damn, some of those cuts and everything else, but nothing, not surprising. So that's why I say there is no position safe from pick 11, even running back. And I'm telling you, I'm not. I don't. Evan says I'm not going to throw it on Evan, but Brett, Greg,
What?
I love Devon Achane. Achane is elite. Achane proved today. That's why you have Devon Achane. But I do agree, you need more than one running back. You need another guy. And so Miami, after seeing, and again, Ollie Gordon is his first year. He got a lot of reps. I'm not hating on him. When he got the opportunity, there were some flashes in the pan. We'll see how it goes into next year. But I do think Jalen Wright, and Ollie, that's Ollie Gordon I'm talking about. Jalen Wright, he's a third rotational back. He's nobody's starter. He shouldn't be a starter. So if Miami finds a running back in free agency this year to go 1-2 punch with Devon Achane, great. If they could go and draft a guy, if Love from Notre Dame is sitting there and you think, oh God, you can't pass on him, you go get him. Well, we don't need a running back. We have Devon Achane. But now you have Love and Achane. Are you kidding me? No, you can't pass on anybody at number 11 if they could be a difference maker. But that's where I stand, at least on the running backs. I don't, again, Ollie's his first year. Jalen Wright, off and on. It is what it is. I was expecting a little more from him. Don't have anything against Quinn Ewers. He is what he is. He's a 7th round, 3rd string quarterback, rookie who been pushed into a situation, in a losing situation.
Come on, Shallot. Don't remind me of Liam over Creed.
Creed Humphreys.
We passed up on Leo Chanel.
Steve is never not gonna let that go because every time he has a chance,
I haven't let it go because I was a huge Creed Humphrey guy.
Who could
go
we
ahead,
have had over Noah?
Go ahead, Sammy.
Set me up, Evan. What are we going to talk about?
Okay, so first topic was you could talk about the running game. That was one topic, and what's your main focus? If you're going to follow the draft with George and Brett, with Bobby, ourselves, myself, Brett, right? If you were looking at the draft right now and you saw what the team played today, what is your number one priority in the draft? And then what do you saw from the running game today? Because what I saw from the running game today is that Achane basically won you a couple games, but outside of him, the cupboard is bare in the running room.
There's a movie, right? The guys, there's a guy that goes, everybody, everybody's a priority. Because right now, the Dolphins basically don't have depth. If the guy goes down, they have 0 depth. So right now at 11, they have a chance to take the best player available. We don't know who that's going to be. If there's the video of Ruben Bain with a gas mask, please send it to @FinSammy on X, because that's the only way. That's the only way he's going to fall to 11. That would be nice.
Give me David Bailey.
That Ruben Bain's not going to go to 11, but at 11, you guys, you guys are the draft guys. I asked on Fins Faithful if there's anybody who's worth going up to take as a quarterback in this draft, and basically the answer from everybody is no. There's not a surefire quarterback that's worth going up to get. So there's a better chance of the Dolphins finding enough draft picks to get the right quarterback next year. So I would not mind to do that. The kind of move that the Rams did last season with the Falcons was a stupid trade. You trade back and get a number 1 next year. You have 2 number 1s next year, because that gives you a better chance to going up. Because next year the Jets are going to have probably 2 first-round picks, and that way you can be able to compete. So I would not mind them trading back, accumulating assets. They had 3 third-round picks this year. That gives you enough firepower to get some rookies, some new bodies in the building. So I would not mind if that's the route for the Dolphins to trade back and find a way to get a quarterback next year.
I will say, just to piggyback on that, a plan that Miami could do, and we'll talk more on this on the Miami Dolphins draft show on FTSN, the On the Clock draft show on FTSN tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Josh Wingate, myself, and Coach Vogel.
Sitting on a chair, Vogel.
But again, if Miami sits there and they said, let's wait till 11, and I'll say Mendoza goes 1, Moore goes 2, there's no quarterback you should get at 11 at that point. more than likely you're going,
or
whoever's
a 3.
no, maybe. But at that point, you could still, that doesn't mean you take the quarterback option out of the draft at that entirely, because you could sit there, go best BPA, whoever that be, second round, third round. And if you're in the third round or the fourth round and somehow, some way, maybe, and again, I'm just throwing a name out there, Drew Allar is sitting there out of Penn State. You could go grab him. You grab him. Then you go, okay, we have a rookie guy. We got Quinn Ewers. We don't have to spend too much money on that, because we're about to, if we decide to trade Tua, more than likely cut, because I don't know who's going to trade for him. You cut him and it kills you cap wise. You got 2 young guys there on cheap deals. Let them compete. And then you have that Malik Willis, Will Levis scenario like the Titans had. You let to see how those guys work out. If one or the other gets to start, you let them play it out. And if it's not working out, if next year, Drew Allar not doing good, he's like, oh, that dude, he's not a starter in this league, and Quinn Ewers is basic, then that's when you say, as Sammy brings up, the year after, you stockpile those picks and you trade up and go get your guy, whomever that may be at that time. Because you're going to have Sellers coming out, you're going to have Manning coming out, you're going to have you have some other names coming out that would be great. But
I don't know about Manning yet, just because we were talking like how much he's getting paid at Texas. He said he wants to stay all 4 years. I could see him staying all 4.
Oh, I could see him for sure.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that's the name thrown out there.
But to your point on Allar, the reason I like him, one, he has a lot of tools that were
internal discipline,
underdeveloped, right? Like he was not developed at all, and there's a lot of tools there. He coming off an ankle injury, you could get him lower first, second, or third, depending on where things go, right? You can get him somewhere like that. You have no real ties to him. And all of a sudden, now you have this young quarterback. He's not expensive, right? He's got a lot of potential.
Big arm.
Right. And he's intelligent. He won't get out of the film room. So, let's say he works out. Great. You have your quarterback. He doesn't work out. You can still take one at 27. And if you still have faith that he might work out, you still take one at 27. And, now you got 2 quarterbacks. You trade one. It's not a bad situation to have. So it's like it could work out really well. It not saying it will, but I mean, like, it's a low risk. Like Ewers is no risk. He's 7th round pick.
Josh is absolutely right. Yeah.
So keep going. So dude, yeah, he is a first round quarterback.
And I will say Steve's not wrong. I understand what Steve is saying. Again, it's the type of picks. That's what's come being a fan of the Miami Dolphins. Low expectations with these picks. Everyone needs to guard their loins. We're a huge letdown for whoever we pick. It's never who we want. It's never who we think it's going to be. I will say that has been true. It may not be true now. Again, everybody has their own version of what Miami should do, right? But that's why when that pick is made, Brett might go, man, I want this guy. I'm going to say I want this guy. Josh thinks we should do this. Evan thinks we should do that. Sammy thinks. And then, the pick is made and you go, damn, dude, I really wanted that guy. But this is why that pick works. I will tell you, Steve, you're right. But I think this is the year that we could finally say, or we could probably take a little bit of a breath and go, okay, let's see what this new GM and this new scouting department, led by 2 different guys, could do. Because it's not the same people making the picks. It's going to be a new general manager. So just throwing that out there.
And we did say earlier in the show, for if you guys want to watch on here, that even when Miami made the right position, it was the wrong player.
Yes, yeah.
Like Jalen Phillips, Chop Robinson, right positions to get, right? The first corner of the first pick of the draft when they got Cam Smith was a corner. Great, premium position, wrong player. They do that a lot, right? And while I like Waddle, you could have just stayed put where you were, maybe moved up a spot to get Devonta Smith, but you gave up too much to get him. So it's like you always go, like they always do the wrong player, and you can do the offensive lineman, which he pointed out with Creed Humphrey and Liam Eichenberg. And the real quick, I know a lot of people are going to say offensive line since we're on the topic of what to add, but you don't want to take offensive line early. And we have invested in the offensive line, just the wrong players, right? So it's like we can fix the offensive line in mid-tier, day 3, mid-tier free agents just by getting the right people that fit the right system. So it's just about, and some of the guys we have, I think you can just keep working with it and moving forward with, but that goes for all positions, right? So it's, for me, like the premium positions, it has to be wide receiver, corner. if you can get a Caleb Downs at safety, I've said this before, that he can help your secondary a lot. So like, but pass rush, pass rush, like you guys saying Bain, Bailey, but there's a lot of pass rushers in this draft. So if you want to stay at 11 and get a receiver, like the kid from Arizona State and really like him or whatever, but there's going to be somebody at 11 worth taking. It's just like Steelers and Ravens are always at the bottom of the draft, yet they always find talent. Why? Because they know, okay, we know how to evaluate talent, so we're going to get the guy. So my hope is the new GM comes in. The names I'm seeing are teams that have had success drafting, the Packers and Eagles and stuff. So we'll see what happens. But if that's the case, if they can kind of do what those teams did, it will work out.
And I will say too, just in regards to the Drew Allard conversation, which we will be having a lot, different prospects, but obviously he will be in, throughout the draft process on OTC, on OT, OCT, on the clock, OTC, overtime. I'm really tired, but we'll have all those conversations. But one thing I do want to say about Drew Allard, especially in this draft process, I would not be surprised if you start to see him rise a little bit in the combine and everything, because again, talent
after the
matters.
40,
2024 tape compared to 25. You put into school, you start to, add into the factors of what happened at school and with Penn State, you start to add those factors in and you go, wait a second, this guy is he's a better prospect than his grade or what maybe people think they grade him at. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like Josh brought up earlier, seeing him come in late in the second round. But again, if he's sitting there possibly in the second round, third round, whatever, third round especially, you grab him, that's a win-win. If you get 2 quality picks in the first and second round and you go and get Drew Allard in the third round, that could be a win-win for Miami. But again, we have a long way to go before that pick is made.
I might even grab 2. I might even grab like Gunnar Stockton if he comes out later in the draft. I really liked his toughness against Ole Miss. So it's just options. Like, what do you have to lose by grabbing more than one guy? Like, Josh
Greg has something to say. What is it, Greg?
Stay away from SEC quarterbacks. They all suck. The conference sucks. Don't go there. Josh will probably yell at me for this one, but yeah, no.
You don't believe in Ty Simpson?
No.
Oh my God!
I'm just kidding. They benched the guy.
No.
We will be talking about Ty Simpson tomorrow.
You leave Joe Burrow.
Austin Mack looked like he has more promise than Ty Simpson.
Yeah. Now John Mateer I like, but Oklahoma. I don't know.
No.
I don't know if I like him as like anything higher than like day 3.
Let me ask you guys this. And forgive me if you've already answered this, and if you did, you could totally say, Bobby, we talked about this already, and I'll watch it later.
Bobby, we talked about it already.
Go piss off. Anyway, we asked this about earlier, now that when the Aikman news came out, but what also came out after the Aikman news was the type of GM Miami was looking for a guy with a strong scouting background. When you hear that as a criteria, is there any one name that comes to your mind? It might be, or just a guy that you would really like that Miami would interview at least, because you know how it plays out. We say a guy and a guy doesn't get picked. But is there a guy that you hear that you go, this is the guy? Or is there a guy you go, man, I would really like them to interview this one guy. He might fit that background. Is there one guy for you, Brett? And then we'll get to Greg.
Well, for GM?
Yeah, who fits that with strong scouting background? Because a lot of people love our friend Jason Sarney of the Fifth Faithful Pod, loves Alec Hallerby of the Philadelphia Eagles. The problem with that is he does not have a strong background. He's an analytic guy, so that kind of takes his name out of it right now. Is there any one guy that you really like, or is there a guy that when you see strong scouting background, assistant GM, or in the front office, you're like, what about this guy?
Well, one of the guys that keeps popping up that people talk about is Ed Dodds, but I'm going to stick with the ones that are on the list. Although I do like Dodds from the Colts. He's been one of the better talent evaluators and one of the
he's a long term scout.
Yeah,
yes, yep.
And I don't know why he hasn't got a GM job yet. Maybe he's turned him down. But I think the one of the lists I like the best is John Eric Sullivan for the Packers VP.
Brought him
He's
up
been
earlier.
with the Packers his entire career. And when Gutekunst got promoted, Gutekunst promoted him and then promoted him again. So, they had the friend promotion. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. But if you look what the Packers do, they draft extremely well. They find talent. They they do the due diligence in drafting, and they always find what they need. Like you look at their history of drafting wide receivers and how they've done it. And normally you draft them in the first round, but they've found guys all over the draft and talented guys that just fit what they do. So I kind of like someone coming from that system that, and Green Bay has always developed their guys. You're talking like the old Ron Wolf days, and they always find ways to develop the front office, develop the players. So I would love this. He's probably the top of my list as far as the guys that they have had tied. Now, Hallaby, don't sleep on him, though. He's a very intelligent guy, even though he's analytics. All Eagles front office get developed to learn how to do everything as far as like evaluating quarterbacks and everything, or evaluating talent and everything. So he is a Harvard guy. So, I mean, smart guy, obviously, but he focused more on the analytical side. I don't know how well that plays, but the Eagles do draft really well and rely on the analytics. Howie Roseman's done it for years. But that goes back to the Pete Carroll stuff too, which is kind of analytics, like explosion numbers. Eagles use that height, weight, speed, and then add it in. It's a whole analytical process, and it works out pretty good. So that's where you get guys like Jordan Brooks from, Bobby Wagner. So, but yeah, to me, John Eric Sullivan is my favorite one. Ray Agnew, please just stay away. Stay. I'm good on that one. I like Ray Agnew, but like the Lions haven't drafted as well as people that said. Like I don't know.
In case you were wondering, Bobby, anything Detroit Lions, Greg, who's going to go next, he thinks Dan Campbell's an idiot.
Well, Agnew was the director of player scouting from the start of the Rams with McVay, and then moved into 2021 to the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not done a bad job, but it's nothing impressive, I guess. I don't know.
So John Eric David Sullivan.
My pickles.
Yep.
So
that's
we brought him up earlier. So good name there. I think. Did you say something about the Seahawks?
I just mentioned Pete Carroll's explosive numbers and stuff like that. So,
Greg, strong scouting background. Any GM in particular comes to mind, or do you have one that you're like, I'd like for them to interview this guy?
No, I just want successful programs. I want assistant GMs basically from teams that have drafted well recently.
So he likes my guy too.
I do. I agree with Brett.
All right.
There's no need to reinvent the wheel for Miami. Just do what other successful teams have done. That's all I got to say. And I don't see this being, and this probably sounds arrogant or whatever. It shouldn't be this hard.
You're not wrong.
All right, it shouldn't be this hard. Go to the Andy Reid tree. Go to the McVay tree. Go to the Philadelphia Eagles. Go to these teams that have been successful here lately and poach their second. And let's go. And if it doesn't work 2 years from now, you pull, an Atlanta and you start it again.
They regret not hiring Belichick 2 years ago.
Well, and I've said this in the past. All right,
Belichick.
I want young. I want mid-30s to mid-40s type guys for the head coach and for the GM, and I want a fresh perspective on all of this. So
go ahead. I'm sorry. We were going to say something.
No.
Real quick on Hallaby. I just looked this up real quick. He was a special assistant to this. He was a intern, and then was like basically their analytic guy all the way until 2015. And then in 2016, he was the vice president of football operations and strategy, and then he became the assistant general manager. So what I'm taking from that is he was probably one of the guys that included the algorithms and analytics and stuff into that, and the strategy of finding the guys and stuff like that. Like, if we miss this guy, what are the opportunities to get this and that? So that could be helpful. I just don't know, like you said, like the scouting side of things, how much tape and stuff he's got to watch. And is it more of like he deals with the numbers, height, weight, speed, and crunches that and all that stuff. So, but that's what your scouts are for too. So I don't know.
Exactly. No, great point. Great point. With the supposed criteria of what Miami is looking for in the next GM, yeah, Ed Dodds is a name that automatically comes to your head. You know, again, strong scouting background. Eric Sullivan from the Packers as well. One guy, Matt Berry, the VP of Player Acquisition for Seattle. He's another guy. A name that I thought of that I was talking about earlier, other than Eric Sullivan and Ed Dodds, that I think, you know, again, former player in the league, been a part of some good organizations, but also a strong scouting background, is Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham. That is another name, I think, young guy, but a name I think Dolphin fans should be paying attention to. Ian Cunningham from Chicago. That's another name that I really have been zoned in on as well. So somebody I would like for Miami to possibly interview. If they could bring in Ed Dodds, Ian Cunningham, Eric Sullivan, you know they're doing the right thing. You know they're getting in some good names in there. So we will see how that plays out. Let's see here. Make sure I'm not missing anything in my notes here.
I want to talk about the schedule.
Go ahead, Evan.
No, so I want to ask you and Sammy. If you guys happen to see the schedule that came out. I'm just going to pull it up again.
That's the schedule, but the home not the schedule, but the home and away opponents.
The opponents, we don't know those are the opponents for next season. Just see if I can pull it up. Let me just see if I have it over here. So home, because Sammy, you were saying that we probably have a bad game that we're going to make fan weekend. So you got the Bills, the Patriots, the Jets, as we know. Got the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Bears, the Lions, and the Bengals. So there, I understand schedule, but except for who knows what the Bengals are going to do. And
we're going to the Chargers again.
We got the Chargers again. Got the North. We got the North, and then we got it ain't fun. And then get to go away. You got the Bills, the Broncos, the Packers, the Raiders, the Vikings, the Patriots, the Jets, the Colts, and the 49ers.
Of all those teams, who team that coming to Hard Rock next team do you think that the fans rather?
I was going to tell you. That's what was my question: was which team? The Jets, the Patriots, the Jets, Chiefs, Chargers, Bears, Lions, Bengals. Which one is fan club weekend?
Bears or Lions?
It's got to be the Chargers again because that's the least fan base. So basically, they're going to wait. As for fans,
they can't do it again.
It's got to be the Chargers again. You can bet it's going to be the Chargers.
But this is, by the way, for a 7-10 team, this is a bad schedule. You get stuck with the North, and then you have to face the 49ers and the Colts again, like
on the road again.
Like it's not. This is not fun. This is. I understand you have to play who you have to play,
or the Bengals. The Bengals will be fun.
I was going to say it's the Bengals. I feel it's the Bengals. That's what I keep seeing.
But wouldn't it be nice if Burrow was our quarterback instead?
Oh my God, that would make a fan weekend fun.
Forget about a team with that is good. Think about the fan base. The fans that travel well. You know they need Dolphins fans for that game. They don't need they need to fill it with Dolphins fans. So. Either with the Bengals or the Chargers. Probably the Bengals.
Just don't buy your fan club weekend. I don't think the tickets will be sold till the day before the game. The way the team is going,
I'm not buying tickets during ever again. I'm gonna buy.
Never buy tickets in advance. But when you guys see that schedule, like they better find at this point, there's no expectations next season. At this point, that's why
you can't have any expectations for right now for this season, for this next coming season, especially when you look at that. If you're going to next season with this football team. Into next season, there's nothing to be excited about. However, I will preference it by saying we're not going to have the same team going into next season. And still, I understand. Look, there's not enough cap or anything. We don't have any expectations for this offseason for anything drastic other than a new GM and a new scouting department and whatever the draft brings. But to me, looking at this, obviously, again, I hope fans into next year, unless something crazy happens where you're like, holy crap, man, I'm really excited for this rookie. I'm really excited for this coach, whoever it may be. Going to next season with very low expectations. Just go week to week, enjoy every game as best as you can, and hope for the best. But go ahead, Greg.
Bobby, I was going to say this real quick. All right, to that point, expect 20 to 25 new players on a 53-man roster next year.
I would like to see 52. I'd like them to pull a Belichick in North Carolina and go 52. Just keep Achane, everyone else, and Riley Patterson and Jake Bailey. Fine, we'll keep those guys. Yeah, everyone else, you can go.
No,
you're going to turn over half this roster.
This is not going to be the same team going into next year.
It's not going to look the same, and that's one of the things that could potentially give fans a little bit of hope going into next year. Is that this is going to be a completely different roster. You're not going to recognize a lot of these names.
Good.
Hey, I'll
Good.
throw another name in the ring for GM. Andy Weidel.
Yeah, we talked about him earlier too.
Well, no, I don't
From
think he
Pittsburgh.
will because the Steelers now are Kyle Hamilton out. So I think you could be hearing Harbaugh and Lamar going tomorrow because they might choke this game away. Kyle Hamilton got carted off, and now Aaron
shit.
Rodgers is cooking.
But yeah, Weidel he playing for the
Cooking.
work with the Eagles as their
For
he's
DSG, buddy, for DSG.
I know, I
29
know.
with 29 years. Anyway, he worked for the Eagles for a long time, and then
Yes.
he's been with the
Yeah.
Steelers. But we'll see what happens with the Steelers. I don't know. But if he leaves, he's not the GM, so that would be definitely one to look at too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He worked for Ravens and Eagles. My bad.
there you go. There you go.
So, no, but
But-
no, I didn't have a chance. Sammy, you didn't have a chance to answer this question, and I wanted to come back to you on this. What the F happened to whatever happened to the freaking running game?
To the running game, well,
Like Waddle or like Gordon had
for
a rough year
example,
as rookie, but Jalen Wright.
if you think about it, we talk about it during the season. When Austin Jackson is not there, the running game goes. And I'm not saying Austin Jackson is a great player. We all know he's not. But last year happened the same thing. Austin Jackson went out, and the running game went to hell. So I'm not saying that's the reason, but it's not probably not a coincidence that the running game today was not working and was working the other week. So probably was that. I don't know. Maybe. On the GM thing, I want to say one thing. I said in the pregame that I would like someone who knows how to build a team, to build a structure of the team, because making picks, getting good players with Stephen Ross money, that can be done. But I want someone who can build a team. And if McDaniels comes back, if McDaniels comes back, you have to start thinking about someone for the 49ers, someone for the Packers, someone like that. Someone who's basically running the same scheme that McDaniels runs. So look into the Packers, look into the 49ers, because that's probably the answer.
Well, so with the Packers, though, that's the funny part. Like, they didn't really change anything. When they hired Matt LaFleur, it's a little different system than they normally run, but their philosophy stayed the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like so it's almost like the philosophy.
They tweaked it, yes.
Yeah, but like the philosophy of winning football, it's like they know what to do. Like they get the premium positions. They get the pass rushers, the wide receivers and stuff. It's like, I don't know. I honestly would like to go with a guy from the Packers just because they've been doing it for so long, drafting and developing, and it's been a system forever since Holmgren was there, since before Holmgren was there. So it's like, it's something that they need to, that Miami really needs to look into, and or Philly, because they know how to build a winning team as well and do things the right way. So it's just, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But again, like it's like I've said before, this team's put together. What are we trying to do? This team makes no sense with the construction. So like, can we get a GM that knows how to make it make sense and knows how to get the right pieces? But then my problem is, if we get a guy like John Eric Sullivan who worked with LaFleur, does he keep McDaniel?
If you hire John, if you hire Sullivan, and Sullivan comes in here and he says, he speaks with McDaniel and he says, okay, I could work with McDaniel, then be bygones, let bygones be bygones. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Because you're getting a new GM, you're getting a new front, whatever. And if he believes McDaniel could, work his ingredients to a good recipe, then all power to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
What can you do with it? Praying over there on Rodgers is down. That's only a matter of time, brother.
Bobby, I want to ask
No. We need the Steelers to win because maybe we'll have a chance to Lamar Jackson.
You guys, Bobby and Sammy, I asked this question earlier to Greg and Brett. What happened this year to the NFL? You look at the quality. I watched last night very intently. I watched all the games. The quarterback play has been mediocre. Like Sam Darnold, they're number one seed. The man turned over the ball 21 times this season. Brock Purdy did not look great last night, even with McCaffrey and the offense there. They looked completely. I look at what's going on in the NFL this year. Like, if this is Josh Allen's year, if he doesn't win it this year, he doesn't get the Super Bowl this year. I don't know when he's ever going to get there. But I just feel like this has been one of those seasons where, like, teams that have hired good head coaches, whether it's Mike McDonald or you had Sean Payton or Mike Vrabel, the coaching really mattered this year. It wasn't the QB play as much as it was the coaching of the teams that have been successful this year. So whether it's Liam Cohen, or whether it's Ben Johnson, or whether it's Mike Vrabel, it's just I feel like the coaching mattered this year, and that's why I think they have to get the coach right. As much as they have to get the GM right, they need to get the coach right. Yes, you need to have a good quarterback, but a lot of these quarterbacks, some of them who are playing in the next year, did not have great seasons. CJ Stroud was not phenomenal this year. The defense still. I just feel you have to get the right coach in there to set along with the general manager to really make a difference, because I think coaching will matter this year. A team is going to make the Super Bowl, guys, where the quarterback is average at best. What are your thoughts, Bobby and Sammy, on what's happening in the NFL this year?
Go ahead, Sammy.
I think it's kind of weird. There's always a year when there's a turnaround. Everybody's keep the punters keep predicting the same players. Kansas City again and again the same thing. This comes a year when everything flips, and you can see other teams basically turning around. And next year, nobody's going to pick the Chiefs. Next year, everybody's going to pick the Patriots. It changes. So there was a lot of bad football this year. Also, the quarterback play wasn't good. A lot of weird injuries, a lot of people hurt, and not a good football. So that's why I think I wanted to say that in the pregame, but I forgot. You were right on the money. I didn't agree with you at the time, but you were right, Evan. You said that you expected to have a lot of coaching vacancies this offseason. I don't know if they're gonna be, but you're right about the possibilities, because you said it. I didn't agree. I didn't agree with the possibilities of having a lot of coaches who could be fired or people, traded or whatever. But you were right about that. And basically that's the case, and it's also because of a lot of bad coaches. So between the generational flip, you're gonna see the Chargers going up, the Chiefs going down. Well, the Jaguars probably going to get established, even with the Colts a great first half of the season. Now the Jaguars probably Trevor Lawrence might maybe turn the quarter. So we have to wait and see. But it was a lot of bad football. It was a lot of chasing the NFL. Next year, it's going to be interesting when the people who basically the punters that usually pick the same teams gonna have to make a hard decision to either I pick the team they pick this year or go over with the generational change. So it happens every 8-9 years happens, but I don't think that you're going to see the powerhouse that we had see every single year. Probably in the NFC coming up as favorite next year. The NFC right now is a better conference. So if the Dolphins basically had the team that it was a good team, they might have a chance to win the Super Bowl for the next couple of years. Unfortunately, we're rebuilding right now, so that's a shame.
Bobby?
Yeah, I there's not much really to add to that. It's just been a weird year, around the league.
Yes,
teams have taken a step back. It's kind of like I don't know what to make of it. It's just what it is. I expect the guard. That's right. It's just
everyone thought the Colts were going to be great. They didn't win a game for 5 straight. Remember, I told you that.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna replay that every week, so you can get
backup quarterback matters.
When you send me the ring, Sammy, send Evan a cookie so he could feel better because he needs a cookie.
I got one prediction right all season.
I have something for him. It's not gonna be.
There you go. There you go.
Oh God!
There you go.
I'll use that to wipe my nose. Jesus Christ.
But I will say this: if I remember correctly, Evan, when we were doing the last post game of the season last year, during the post game we got that Stephen Ross statement, right? That statement we got last year during the last post game. This season, there's no statement yet. So very, very, very interesting. Yes, we all can hope that tomorrow. If I don't see it first, I'm just hoping I get that. See Evan calling. What's Evan calling for? Hello, Bobby. Bobby. Mama.
No, come on, guys. You will hear me in San Juan if McDaniel gets fired. Like you will hear me across the globe.
One last prediction, if I may, on the GM search.
Yes,
Dolphins fans always do the same. There's 1/3 that's gonna agree. There's 1/3 that is gonna disagree. And that's 1/3 that never agrees. So you always get 2/3 who don't agree with anything. So no matter who pick, it's gonna suck. It's gonna be a failure. The Dolphins done nothing. So that's gonna happen.
I know we've said this. I know we've said this so many times before, but I think it means a lot more now because and again, I know we keep hampering on the head coach, but really, I think this is more important now more than ever. because we're getting a new guy who's going to be running this, at least the football team with building the roster. And then it's not just that, but also those 2 guys that were laid off too. That's so important. This could be the most important offseason for the Miami Dolphins, not for next season. We're going to win next year. We all know that there's no high expectations going into next year. This could be what sets us up for the next 10 years if they make the right hire this offseason with the general manager. If you get a guy who could build a good foundation that, 16 months from now, we're going, damn, that worked out. We had a tough season that year, tough season this last year, but we finally got our guy. And now we're going to start making what we're going to. That's why this next hire with general manager is something very important. I know there's a lot of names people go, oh, that one guy, we bring up Hallerby. Oh, look at the Eagles. Oh, don't hammer on one guy. Don't get your stuff stuck on one guy. Get everybody, when you start hearing these names pop up, all these lists, look them up, see what they've done, see what they've been a part of, then make your judgment. And then after you've done your initial judgment, shut up, sit back and watch them cook. Let them do it. And in that way, when the next season comes along and the picks that they made that Brett disagrees with or loves or vice versa, or Evan or whatever, we go, damn, we were wrong, or damn, we were right. Let them, judge the guys as their names are coming through, then drop it. Stop hampering on it. Pick it up. Let's watch what they do and move on, because this is a new vision for the Miami Dolphins. This isn't Chris Greer anymore. I know we've been in that abusive relationship. We can't let it go. We're afraid. It's like the puppy and that poor little dog will you? No, is that what it is? Not will you remember me? Sorry. Anyway, those little dogs and the PETA videos, and all this stuff, and you feel bad for him, and you're looking at him, and he's in the cage, and he's afraid of the person as they're trying to give him a bone to make him feel better. We're all that dog. We've been in that abusive relationship. Now we're in this little shed, hoping to be adopted by the Lou loving person. Don't be so afraid. Start to trust. Let's see what this new GM is going to be. He might not be. He may come from an organization. We go, really? We hired that guy from that place? Hey, maybe, just maybe, that guy is the one who makes us happy. Maybe, just maybe, he leads us in the right direction. Maybe, just maybe, Greg, by the end of the year, is going to go, I like that they hired that guy. He knows what he's doing. Maybe, just maybe, love it, hate it, drop it, and move on and watch it.
Yeah, maybe, just maybe, Troy Aikman's a genius. The chances
you
of
are
that.
so anti. What did Troy? The famous lines of Bobby Mullen did. What did Troy Aikman ever do to you? Did he cut you off in traffic or something? What did he ever do to you, this guy?
Well, what if we hire someone from Tennessee? Again, are you talking like
there is
John
no one
Robinson?
He means you. He means you.
Oh, it's me. Oh, well, if it's me, you sit back and enjoy it, brother. Dolphins win a Super Bowl in a couple years, man. I'll give you 2 seasons. We're good. I got Brett. I got Josh. I got Greg. I'm golden, man. I know what to do. Evan will be our radio guy. That was horrible. They should trade him. Somebody turn off Evan's mic. Turn off Evan's mic.
I'm just waiting for the Dolphins to do something like fire McDaniel, get a quality GM, and they'll hire someone like Vance Joseph and just watch like the Dolphins fan base just melt down. I don't know if it's a good or bad head coach, but I would just die.
But Brett, let me ask you, because he's a big name. Are you going to be banging the table that if you see tomorrow, even if they haven't figured out their GM search yet, if you see tomorrow that Kevin Stefanski is fired, you interview him, right? You said you like Stefanski.
I'd jump all over that to get him to see what happens with that. I think Stefanski and if you look at the guy for the Packers, Stefanski, they would go hand in hand with like that system, because Stefanski comes from that West Coast system back with Brad Childress days. So he knows that system very well, and that's what he runs now, and that would be a perfect match. As I like Stefanski as a head coach. I think he's a fantastic head coach, and I think the situation with the Browns is kind of shaky. I mean, it's the Browns, so not that we're any better, but so I feel like maybe if you go get Stefanski and you bring in the right GM, I think that would work out really well. I think it potentially could work out really well. But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely give give him a ring, but I don't think Stefanski's going to be just like running around, just like, oh yeah, someone hire me quick. I think he's going to take his time to decide because there's going to be a lot of job openings, and I think he might also like take his time to say like, I'm an experienced head coach. I'm going to take my time to figure out where I'm going to go.
Rumor has it, and it's a reputable source, guys, that if LaFleur loses next week to Chicago, and the way that they played this year, they could potentially fire LaFleur and hire Stefanski. Stefanski gets fired.
Yeah, I believe that.
What do you like? And let me ask you guys. Let me just go around the table, guys. This is an important question because Bobby, you like to ask this question. Let's go around the table again. If they fire Mike McDaniel, and let's do both games, GM and coach, what do you guys want? Young, never before GM, or someone who's done it before? Head coach, veteran head coach, or young up and coming head coach? What do you guys both want? Greg, since you haven't had a chance to talk in a while, go for it.
He's already said his.
I do not believe that a veteran head coach will come to Miami. Not in this situation, not where they are right now in the division that they are in right now. So I think it's going to be young, and that's where I want to go. I want to go first time GM. I want to go first time head coach. And let's roll the dice. Let's go.
Bobby?
Catch lightning in a bottle.
Bobby, you wanted veteran last time in head coach. What do you want this time?
All right. In regards of a general manager, I'm pretty comfortable with the names I said. If it's a veteran GM, which is not a bad deal, with a guy who's been there and maybe didn't work out and he had to move forward.
Chris Greer.
No. But I think again, Ian Cunningham, Ed Dodds, those are two good names. Yeah, but I'm going to forget his name right now. The one from Green Bay we were just talking about.
John Sullivan.
Thank you, Sullivan. So those are guys that I'm intrigued with. I wonder if they do interview a veteran or a guy who was a GM before, like a John Robinson out of Tennessee, who was the Titans GM before it fell apart. That would be interesting. In regards of head coach, again, there's only 32 jobs in the NFL. So I don't believe any one guy, unless he knows he's going to get a job somewhere else, is going to refuse an interview with any team, especially now that if you're going to get a new GM and a new coach. I don't believe anybody's going to go, I'm not going to that team. A veteran guy, always. I think I'm sick of the young guys. I'm sick. We've done it. Adam Gase, or not young guys, but just first timers. Adam Gase, Mike McDaniel, Flores, Philbin, Soprano. It's the same old bullshit. I'm done with, like, I'm not a big fan of the first guy anymore. Like, if it happens, it happens, and hopefully they make the right thing. But like, I know people, Joe Brady and whatever, say, oh, what about this one guy who's a guru or this guy? No, get a coach who's been there, who's done it. Yes. Who's failed, who it makes, happens. That's why they're available. Who's failed that, in their second stint is going to go and say, hey, you know what? I did this before. Let me set up this foundation with this new young GM. You go, give me a young GM and a veteran coach, and I'll be golden. I'll be okay with a young guy if they hire a young guy, because I'll talk myself into it. But no, my preference is get a young GM who can go with a veteran coach that they could work together and build up this team. I don't believe that any coach is going to say, I'm not going to that team. No, there's only 32 jobs. No, give me a veteran coach.
Sammy?
I have no idea right now. It's such a mess. I don't need to be honest. I usually prefer the veteran because the experience with the rookies had not been good in Miami. Ken Cameron, Sperano, Brian Flores, Adam Gase, all over and over and over. The Dolphins hired Dan Wanstead, who was a coach before with the Bears, and that's basically the last playoff with the Dolphins I think it have in 25 years, if I'm not mistaken, right? So we have one after the other rookie head coaches that had failed. So that experience has not been good for the Dolphins. So it's hard for me to say, let's get someone who's had experience and basically to come to Miami now, he's going to become a genius. We have a genius right now, and the genius failed. Failed. Yeah. No, that failed. That's sure. Genius failed. So, I rather have the experienced guy. I'm pretty sure they can find someone. Stefanski will be very intriguing. I don't know if the Packers are gonna do that, but they done things like that before. Mike McCarthy, I remember Mike McCarthy went to the playoffs. I think they fired him after going to the playoffs. I'm mistaken. So the Packers get tired every now and then. So it would not be crazy. I don't think they will do that, but that would not be crazy. So give me the veteran coach. Give me the one GM that basically shows me he has an idea of how to build a team. Mix analytics, mix with everything, mix with code. The officers have been told that said that they're going to revamp the scouts, the scout department. Good, but get me the best scouting department that money can buy. That's what River Ross needs to really spend his money.
Greg and Brett.
Do it. But I lost about.
The funny thing about that, Sammy, is a lot of NFL teams have cut their scouting departments and things like that because of all of the
analytics
stuff and of the availability of being able to basically scout everybody remotely.
Yeah.
So
nowadays you really don't have to be on the road as much. You really don't. You don't have to
There are a lot fewer NFL scouting talent right now than there has been in the last, 20, 30 years.
You don't have to.
It's really it's really something that's basically been hacked to death.
And to be honest, though, it's kind of a good thing because they spend 9 months on the road and they don't get paid anything. So there's no point in having it the way they were. So
I'll be honest. I see them the glass half full, because if that's the case, there are a lot better scouts out there without a job. So get me some of those. I don't mind that. Well, if they're less working, they're more available. So get me the better one of those.
Well, the thing is, it's a matter of making the best of what you have, right? So that's what it's going to come down to. As far as for general managers, I just want someone who with fresh ideas, who wants to come in and change things, and for not reinvent the wheel, but change Miami's philosophy and say, trash everything you're doing. It makes no sense. This is what succeeds. Let's do it, and then get someone who's a little bit more cutthroat, who will go after the right players. And as far as head coach, they don't have to be experienced. I like Stefanski because he's a good head coach. He's still youthful. I still want a youthful head coach. I don't want to go. Yeah, so I would love Stefanski would be my top choice if available. I know it's going to be really popular if John Harbaugh becomes available. I like John Harbaugh. I think he's a good coach, but I'm not huge on the Harbaugh brothers necessarily, because sometimes they get to be the dinosaur football. And I think that's usually what holds them up against the guys, the likes of Andy Reid and the Bills. And so the Ravens have struggled against the Bills and the Chiefs. So
if
their philosophy isn't that good. One team interviewed Andy Reid back in '99. That was the Eagles. They hired him. They gave him full control. He had full roster control and all. He was not a very well-known name back then. And look what he's done in his career. I'm not saying it's easy to find, but there are guys who are that we don't necessarily pay that close attention to that were developed from a good system. And Mike Holmgren was one of the ones who developed the guys like that. Trees are hard to find, guys, but you can find guys like a Sean Payton, who is not as well known either, but come from Belichick's tree, but just had that philosophy, had the correct ways of doing things. If you find a guy like that, so whether that's an experienced head coach or that's a brand new head coach, it doesn't matter. And I think a guy like Joe Brady, I do like, because he has come up from Sean Payton and he has learned and he's been around. He worked with everywhere he's been. The quarterbacks have done well. The Panther situation, he didn't really have much to work with, but they did pretty well. So I would look at guys like that too. Even though they're younger, they can still find a way. And the William and Mary guys have been pretty good. You got Tomlin and McDermott. They're William and Mary guys.
I
Lamar
want to say,
Lamar just made a play. Holy shit!
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Bobby. I want to say what
yeah.
I understand what we're saying, but Andy Reid's a great example of what I'm trying to say. Andy Reid could not win the big one with the Eagles. He went to the Chiefs in the second opportunity and won a big one. Bill Belichick could not win squad with the with the Browns, and he went to the Patriots and basically made history.
Hold on.
So So
the Browns are what the Ravens are right now.
yeah, I get that, but you know,
Belichick built that, and the Eagles' philosophy right now that's working, that they've won Super Bowls with, is Andy Reid's philosophy. And Andy Reid took his team to a Super Bowl. He had 2 losing records the whole
Yes.
time with the Phillies.
Yeah,
So-
I'm just saying he was an elite coach.
They both coaches went somewhere, could not win. As rookie coaches, they could not win. When they got the experience, they went to the second franchise and basically dominated the last 20 years. So
when they got their GM and they went somewhere else. I will say too, what Steve is saying too in the comments. And I think that's absolutely fair because Evan brought this up earlier. When you saw what happened with the Lions last year, and you see what happened now. You know, but number one for a head coach, find a coach that knows how to inspire a team and teach them how to win. Number two, he bring in an OC and a DC who can take care of the details. Delegate, you know, I think that's so important. I want a head coach. I don't want an offensive guy who's going to call offensive plays. If you're a head coach, you can't be the head coach. Don't call plays.
That's why I don't want Mike McCarthy.
Job. Delegate.
That's why I don't want Mike McCarthy.
Well, that's
delegate.
You
That's
notice
different because again, Andy Reid calls his plays. That's different.
No,
story.
no,
It's
not
about a
talking about
rookie
him.
coach.
Yeah,
It's a
him
rookie
and
coach.
Sean Payton are like the ones
Yeah.
that do it, and they're good at it. That's it.
Yeah.
McVay's
But the
pretty
other
good
thing
at
is
it.
3 get out of
McVay's
the
pretty good at it too.
I
That's
agree.
true.
Oh yeah.
Shanahan's not bad either. The problem is that
Yeah.
he's too controlled.
And the guy in Seattle's calling defensive plays. So, you know, hey,
It's
Hey,
that's
Flores
all-
called Flores called defensive plays, and we had a good defense. What a surprise!
Yeah, what happened? You
Maybe
couldn't find
Mike
an offensive
McDaniel should
coordinator.
realize he's not a good play caller.
Oh, Josh,
Yeah, man.
Wingate, why is McCarthy being brought up? No,
Right?
no, thank you. Well, no, so like the
I brought him up.
Miami Hurricane head coach. Ah, dang it,
Mario Cristobal.
First of
Yeah.
all,
So he's a dinosaur when it comes to offensive philosophy, right? He handicaps his style, handicapped Justin Herbert in Oregon. But what he did with Miami, the reason his offense looks so much better is because he went with an offensive coordinator who isn't a dinosaur. He decided, I'm just going to be a head coach. I'm going to lead. I'm going to do my head coach philosophies, and I'm going to have an offensive coordinator who runs the offense. I'm going to have a defensive coordinator who runs the defense. And all of a sudden, he's having success because he stopped being a dinosaur on offense. It works. So to your guys' point, like Mike Tomlin, he doesn't call plays. He's a head coach. You know,
yeah,
he-
I want a guy who's
like
a head
McDermott.
coach.
That's why I hate I need an offensive guy. No, you need a head coach.
That's
McDermott's
right.
done a fantastic job as a
Yeah.
defensive guy, and his offensive defenses are good.
That's what I want. I want a guy who's, you know, again, if we brought in Andy Reid, let him call whatever let him call whatever play he wants.
Yeah,
I don't-
yeah.
It's Andy Reid. But if you bring in a head coach, it's definitely what Steve was saying. Bring in a guy who obviously, yes, he's a leader of men. He can inspire. He can do his job as coach, but also bring in a very good offensive coordinator. Bring in a defensive coordinator. When you tell me offensive guru, you better be hiring that guy as the offensive coordinator. You tell me defensive guru, he's your D coordinator. I don't want to hear, this guy's a great D guy, but he's head coach. Bullshit. We need a defense. Our defense sucks. We need a defensive head coach. No, you need a good defensive coordinator. We need a head coach, a head football coach.
Look at
Delegate.
Ben Campbell.
That way,
Dan Campbell-
when your offense, when your team's out in the field, your offense or defense, the coach is watching the plays, watching the game, knowing we're looking at the time, looking at the field, talking to the D coordinator and the offense coordinator, and here's your offensive coordinator. Okay, this is where he's going the next play with the quarterback. Not your head coach going like this, looking at the offensive plays while defense is on the field, sitting on the bench like an Adam Gase or Mike McDaniel. No, get a freaking head football coach. That's what we need. That's it. If that happens, we need to get a GM first. We'll see what happens with McDaniel. I will say, I keep refreshing. No report, no press release from Stephen Ross yet. So that's an outlier. That's something that didn't happen last year. It was the same night on post game last season when we got that press release that McDaniel and Greer were coming back. Not so fast now. So I might get that call tomorrow. Bobby.
Flores was fired back in 22.
Yeah, my man.
Was that on Monday night when Flores was fired, or Monday?
Yeah,
On Monday
Monday,
night,
right?
yeah.
And everybody was caught
Tammy
by
would be my
storm.
first call.
Everybody was caught off guard.
well, I mean, there's a reason why tomorrow's Black Monday, right?
Yeah,
Well, and
I'm
so
hoping.
There's going to
we'll see how it goes down. I know I'll be live either way tomorrow because I got the
There's
draft
going to be
show
7
tomorrow.
or 8 guys fired tomorrow.
And basically, they've been all the week reports that Raheem Morris was not on the hot seat.
Nope.
He
Yep.
was,
That's why.
and he was fired.
Yes,
And he
that's
was fired.
right. He
They
was
claimed
not
that he
all
will
of a
not be
sudden, he was like,
fired.
no.
And everybody, Everybody went.
I'm hoping Stephen Ross took notes. Like, oh, he fired both. He fired a GM and head coach. All
After
right,
2 seasons.
it's time
After
to go.
2 seasons.
Yep.
So anyway, Evan, any final stuff before we wrap this one up?
No, I appreciate everyone staying for as long as they have. It's been a great show. I appreciate Brett and Greg putting up with me for the first 2 hours, so you and Sammy could dilly dally into the show when you guys feel like it. We appreciate you all. No, I keep on like going back and forth, and what a surprise when Greg. I'm watching the background of the tweets of the highlights. It's been a pretty ridiculously bad game between the Steelers and the Ravens today. No one really wanted to win. And lo and behold, an explosive play opened up the game. What a surprise. Throwing the ball downfield to your best receiver might actually work one day in football. And anyone who said Lamar Jackson's having a bad game, the guy just broke a tackle and made a throw not many quarterbacks can make. So part of me actually wants the Ravens to lose, so Lamar Jackson doesn't want to stay. Like, that's the only reason why I want the Ravens to lose, because I'd like Lamar Jackson to be our quarterback. I don't mind if Joe Burrow's our quarterback. I really don't care. Go get the best guy out there.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, I want to thank everybody for joining us this season on the Dolphins pregame or the FinStalk pregame and postgame show here on FTSN. That's a wrap for the regular season with the Miami Dolphins. Tomorrow, we go straight into the offseason here on FTSN. Hopefully, maybe we have a breaking news episode. I don't know if I'll be able to because I'll be at work, but we'll figure it out. But I know Evan said he is ready. He was already telling me. But we will figure that out for sure.
Always
Josh, Wingate, and Coach Vogel, myself, will be live 8 p.m. Eastern time for the On the Clock Miami Dolphins draft show here on FTSN. So we're going to get all into it. We'll talk about Aikman as a consultant. We'll talk about the new GM. We'll talk about maybe another head coach. We'll talk about the team needs. Talk about most every position, and we'll get into what we have planned for this offseason. DSG, thank you, brother, for watching all season long. Steve, thank you. Appreciate you. You're awesome. You and Shari. Josh, Wingate, see you tomorrow. Woodson, thank you. McD, everybody, appreciate you all watching. Hopefully I'm not missing anyone here. Daniel.
Don't forget
Scotty, Duke. Everyone. We have a lot of cool stuff cooking here on FTSN. Finstanza, Brett, Greg, they got some cool stuff cooking. Like I said, Josh, myself, and Coach Vogel, Steve Malloy, also with Real Talk Fins Talk. Sammy and I, very excited. We got some stuff cooking. Got a lot of things going on here on FTSN. So do me a favor, Dolphin fans. The season's over. It sucked, but that's life. That's the life of a Dolphins fan. So no matter what, do me a big favor. Like, subscribe, and as always, fins up. We'll see you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.